Chapter 37:18, Xiachen, you are really fierce. He Changtian is not your opponent at all. You are not interesting enough. You hide too deeply. I am worried about you for nothing. In the restaurant, Guoran looks uncomfortable, but his eyes are full of envy. Xiachen beats He Changtian. From the beginning to the end, He Changtian is relaxed, showing his master style. No, you really have to worry about me. Let's go. Summer Morning stood up. Where are you going? Guoran did not understand the way. 5 people just returned to the restaurant, ordered a new dish, but did not eat. How did they go? Where are you going? Go and set up a stall. In the war just now, I lost all the money I made before. If I don't make any more money, what can I do with others in the 3000 world? Summer Morning bitter face way. In the war just now, Shui was handsome, but he consumed so much fuzhuan. It was fake to say that he didn't feel distressed. The master of Fuan was burning money when fighting. Although Xiachen followed Long Chen and had a rich family background, he had to keep enough fuzhuan on his body in order to have a sense of security. If a Fuan master runs out of seal script, it is the most frightening thing for them. Therefore, every Fuan master needs to keep enough and sufficient fuzhuan to make them feel safe. Although the delicious food just came up, Xiachen was not in the mood to eat it. He was anxious to make up for the loss. He said a few words with Xia Guhong and others, and then he quickly took Guoran to set up a stall. Why don't you set up a stall? I won't go. I've sold almost all my things. The rest is for my own use. Besides, I can't help you anymore. Guoran didn't want to move. You have to help me to say hello. While I depict, you flicker. Cough. It's not fooling, it's just a matter of soliciting money. There's no one who can collect money? Summer Morning Road. Guoran also wanted to say what, as a result, he was pulled away by the Summer Morning, and he was not given the opportunity to be lazy at all. As soon as they left, Long Chen, Yu Qingxian and Xia Guhong were left on the table. Seeing Guoran's face reluctant to be taken away, Yu Qingxian was amused. But funny at the same time, her eyes are also moving. She can fully feel the close relationship between the 3 of them, which she has never met in her life. She did not think that the trust between people can reach this level. She was taken to Yantian Shenzong when she was a child. Although her master was Dongfang Zichu, she didn't spend much time with her. Usually, she was taken care of by the servants of the sect. She had no companions or childhood. Her only hobby was practicing and refining alchemy. Yu Qingxian did not feel anything because she was born like this, so she felt that life should be like this. However, when she grew up and had more contacts, she found that many people had friends and partners who could play together and take risks together. At that time, she felt a kind of emotion called loneliness. She also tries to make friends, but her status determines her height. Even if she lowers her posture, others are full of awe. People who come into contact with Yu Qingxian either fear her identity or yearn for her pills. Because she is a fairy, giving a pill at random can be a treasure to change the fate of others. Yu Qingxian tries to help others sincerely, but she still can't feel the sincere friendship. No one regards her as a friend. So when she met Longchen, she was deeply moved by the firm look in her eyes. She finally tasted the taste of trusting someone wholeheartedly in her life. Now, seeing the unreserved emotional communication between Long Chen and Xia Guhong, Xia Chen and Guoran, she is full of emotion. There are a group of people around her who can be trusted. Her happiness cannot be described by words. Xia Chen is really strong, but Fu Xiu is famous for burning money. Long Chen, you should be prepared for it. Xia Guhong looked at the 2 people leaving and couldn't help laughing. It's okay. After all, besides fighting and killing, I also do business occasionally. Long Chen laughs. Is your business robbing Longting firm? Xia Guhong said with a smile. It's not robbery. At most, it's robbing the rich and helping the poor. Anyway, their money is not good. As long as they don't admit it, they'll take it with peace of mind. Long Chen is very natural, as if robbery is nothing to him. As for the business of Longting, Long Chen told Xia Guhong and Yu Qingxian that they would come to Longting to sacrifice their lives to innocent people. So Long Chen robbed Longting. She didn't think there was any problem. Xia Chen and Guoran had just gone downstairs when there was a commotion below. It turned out that the strong men of the Rosefinch Empire, embarrassed to come up and dare not go far away, wandered around nearby. Xia Chen and Guoran came down and were immediately seen by them. They heard that they were going to set up a stall to do business. These guys immediately volunteered to help. Soon found a suitable place in summer morning. Originally, this place was occupied by someone, but the goods sold by that person were too cold and the business was very poor. When Xia Chen arrived, he directly paid a transfer fee and took down the stall for 3 pieces of fuzhuan. Thus, Xia Chen began to carve the seal script on site. Guoran was responsible for bluffing, while other disciples of the Zhuge Empire were responsible for calling for publicity. Soon, countless people gathered around. Before summer morning, He Changtian, the most powerful man, was killed easily. Countless people saw it. They finally knew how terrible the power of fuzhuan was. Now Xia Chen engraves the seal characters on the spot, and many people start to pay for them. However, there are not many fuzhuan that can be sold in Xia Chen. After all of them are sold out, all the people have to wait. The line of people has already arranged a long string of them, and the business is very good. Of course, Xia Chen would not engrave those 2 high-level characters, because they took too much time. He only depicted the relatively simple and practical ones, such as the transmission symbol, the transfiguration symbol, the invisible character, the latent breath symbol, the double talisman, and so on, which were not powerful, but could save their lives if they were used well. This kind of fuzhuan, Xia Chen holds the inscription pen and adjusts all kinds of inscriptions. With a stroke of the pen, it is a piece of paper that looks insignificant. In an instant, it is endowed with the fluctuation of life. Even if you see it with your own eyes, it is still unbelievable. When Xia Chen sells fuzhuan, the buyer will have a certain priority when he exchanges the array and inscription materials for the seal script. Because Xia Chen is short of these things, he doesn't care much about the immortal Wang Jing. As soon as Zayakin's stall was opened, countless people swarmed in. Fortunately, the disciples of the Zhuge Empire helped, otherwise only Guoran would have to be confused. Qingxian, why don't we also set up a stall? You can refine alchemy on the spot. They'll cheat you and make money. 2-1 makes 5. Seeing Yu Qingxian smiling, Long Chen looks at the busy figure of Xia Chen and others in the distance. It seems that he is very interested. Long Chen laughs. No, if you are known by Duke Wei, he will nag for a long time, and he will report to his father, and he will be scolded. Yu Qingxian shakes her head and says in a helpless way, "Boom." Suddenly, there was a roar in the distance. The world that had been shining brightly turned black in an instant. Long Chen's heart was awe-inspiring. He couldn't help but look up. He saw that the black evil spirit invaded half of the sky, and Long Chen laughed. It's interesting. There's another match. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3719, It's the Strong in the Demon World. When the dark clouds covered the sky, countless people exclaimed, looked up at the sky, with vigilance and fear in their eyes, and even some people's eyes showed the color of fear. Endless evil qi traverses the void. In that evil qi, people can see countless creatures with the smell of demon world on their bodies. Their eyes are cold and they look down on the people on the ground with a sneer on their lips. The demons have always been the enemies of the Terrans. There is an inextricable hatred between the 2 races. The demons have always regarded the Terrans as blood food, which is their great tonic, and is called the human-shaped pill. In history, there have been countless battles of life and death between the Terran and the demon world. After each decisive battle, both sides have paid a huge price. However, when there is no decisive battle, sometimes there will be some disputes between Terrans and demons, especially in some places where the demon world is connected with the human world. There will be a world where people and demons coexist. In this world, Terrans and demons will trade, and even intermarry to breed the descendants of the Terrans and demons. However, whenever there is a bloody war between the demons and the Terrans, these hybrids will be chased by the Terrans and the demons at the same time. Neither the Terrans nor the demons recognize their existence and think that they should not appear in this world. However, when the decisive battle is over, It will enter a long period of repair. The Terrans and demons will start to trade and intermarry again. This is a phenomenon that countless people can't understand, but this phenomenon, whether it's Terrans or demons, can't be prohibited. Therefore, not during the war, although the Terran and Warcraft were hostile, they did not reach the point where they had to fight to death as soon as they met. However, even if the two sides will not directly do it, we all know that once there is a chance, both Terrans and demons will not hesitate to kill each other. Therefore, when the powerful demons came, people suddenly became nervous, and some bloody and belligerent Tianjiao secretly grasped their weapons and slaughtered the demons, which was the duty and glory of every human race. The dark cloud covered the sky and roared, and the evil spirit swept across the sky. The scene was shocking. There were hundreds of millions of creatures in the black cloud. They looked down on the Terrans on the ground coldly at this time, but did not make any other extraordinary actions. In the army of demons, countless powerful people exude a sense of terror. In addition to the breath of the powerful in God's realm, people also feel countless supreme spirits. Obviously, there are countless supreme arrogance among the demons. The powerful demons roared and stormed, but they did not fall directly within the Terran range, but stayed in the relatively remote place of purple hot sky. Is this going to give us a bad impression? Long Chen looked at the group of powerful demons. The corner of his mouth appeared a touch of irony. The demons are coming from the vast, causing a huge movement. The intention is very obvious, that is to tell the Terrans that we demons are coming. You should be careful. When the powerful demons came to the earth, the dark fog slowly dissipated. People gradually saw the appearance of these people. Hundreds of millions of powerful demons came, but their race was very chaotic. Some powerful demons are as tall as mountains, while others are as small as babies, each with strange shapes and countless creatures. There are hundreds of strong gods and tens of thousands of bamboo protoss. It is very shocking that so many powerful people have come. Among them, there are 4 monsters with long swords on their backs, and their green faces and tusks look like fierce ghosts. They have horns on their heads and fine hairs on their bodies, and their breath is very terrible. As soon as they appeared, they looked at Longchen like a knife. Both Longchen and Yu Qingxian felt as if they were being watched by a bloodthirsty beast. The monsters of the demons, what they see is. Dragon Dust recognized the breath of these 4 monsters. Their soul fluctuation was similar to that of Morluo Tianai, which must have a certain origin. Staring at by them, Longchen felt a burst of scalp explosion, extremely dangerous feeling, rising in his heart. These 4 monsters were so amazing that one looked at each other from the sky, which made Longchen extremely uneasy. What surprised Longchen most was that the focus of their eyes was not on him, but Xia Guhong, beside Longchen. Brother, do you know each other? Longchen can't help asking. Xia Guhong looked at the 4 monsters with a cold look in his eyes. He nodded and said, "Yes, I entered the demon world in those years, and it was they who seriously injured me in the end." Longchen takes a breath of cold air. It turns out that these 4 monsters are contemporaries of Xia Guhong, and they have seriously injured Xia Guhong. At that time, there were 8 of them and 4 of them were cut off by me. Maybe it was the will of God that we met again. Xia Guhong looked at the 4 monsters with a touch of sadness in his eyes and endless killing intention. Longchen knew that he thought of his dead wife. Even though it had been so many years, his heart was still full of hatred for the Meluo people. "Big brother, do you want us to kill them directly? How about taking care of the old ones and I'll take care of the small ones?" The Dragon Dust looks at Endless Demon Clan strong person, cannot help but weigh. When Longchen opens his mouth, he startles Yu Qingxian. Longchen is too bold to join hands with Xia Guhong to attack the demon army. Is he serious? You know, the demon army conservatively estimates that there are thousands of supreme Tianjiao people, even more than the Terrans. Dragon Dust even wants to attack them. Xia Guhong smiles and shakes his head. "I have promised the high priest that he will not be angry because of his personal feelings. Therefore, I can't do it because of my selfish desire. Otherwise, I will not be able to explain to him when I go back. My task is to protect you well." With so many old opponents appearing, maybe everything is expected by the Lord's sacrifice. It is also a kind of test for me. Long Chen could hear that Xia Guhong was full of reverence for the high priest in the Dionysian palace. Unfortunately, Long Chen never had the chance to see him, so he was full of curiosity about him. What kind of existence is the high priest, which can make Xia Guhong, such a great hero, worship in his heart, and bring the strong man of the winged demon clan into the Dionysian palace? Long Chen can feel that everyone in the Dionysian palace has an extraordinary identity. However, these people are willing to be mediocre. They concentrate on wine making and wine tasting, regardless of the world affairs. The Dionysian palace itself is a mystery, and the high priest is a mystery. Xia Guhong ignored the 4 demon monsters. After seeing Xia Guhong for a while, they began to whisper. They didn't know what they were discussing. Boom! Suddenly, there was a huge noise, and the void exploded. A wing covering the sky broke through the sky wall, and countless huge figures flew out of the space channel. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3720. That wing, almost covering the whole sky, will break through the void, cut out a space passage, countless figures, flying out of the space channel. Those figures are like mountains and mountains, but in front of them, they seem so small. As soon as those figures appeared, all kinds of roars, howls and shouts were heard in the sky and the earth. It's the monsters that have emerged. Some people exclaimed that each huge figure was an ancient beast. They had giant dragons, phoenix, turtles, and wolves. Later, they formed a sea of beasts, and their appearance could not be distinguished. 9 days is like the bottom of the sea which has been broken down. The monsters are like the sea water pouring back into the purple summer city. They are huge in number and astonishing in blood. Endless monsters fly out of the void. When they fall to the ground, they turn into human beings. They look arrogant at the powerful in all directions. Obviously, they deliberately make such a big noise, show the body, is deliberately frightening others. Kuanping flavor. This is a real Kuanping. Dragon Dust did not pay attention to those monsters, but looked at the sky-covered wings, cannot help but heart-crazy jump. Yes, this is a real Kuanping. It is cultivated by Kuanhuapeng. It has infinite magical power and magic power. It has cultivated a trace of chaotic blood, and its strength is terrible. Xia Guhong looked at the sky-covered wings, eyes, also with a trace of dignified color. From Fanjia to Xinjia, Long Chen met many powerful Peng people. In Tianwu land, he killed the son of Peng Emperor and Kunwu of Kuanping in Tianhong. Kuanping has never seen the real Kuanping, but the so-called Kuanping is a real accomplishment. All the strong men of the Peng nationality met by Long Chen were born by their ancestors' blood, and they made their achievements today. The Kuanping is different. When they were born, they were the most mediocre Kuan. Although they were big and fierce, they were known as the overlord in the water. But their flesh and blood are the immortal flesh of countless beasts. A mouthful of Kuanping meat can be worth thousands of years of practice and increase longevity. Therefore, Kuan had always been the target of numerous fierce beasts before Huaping, and Kuan also needed to devour these fierce beasts and fight with them to improve themselves. It can be said that from Kuan to Peng, it is a bloody process of killing. The fierce beasts want to eat Kuan, and Kuan also wants to eat fierce animals. After countless fighting and swallowing, 99% of Kuan will eventually die in the mouth of fierce beasts. Even though Kuan has survived the bloody growth, it will also experience the robbery of Huaping when it comes to turning from Kuan to Peng. Huaping robbery is similar to Hualong robbery of the dragon nationality, which is a rite of passage, while Huaping robbery is a life and death robbery of Yuan 9 days. Kuan itself is just a fish. Fish should live in the water. From life to death cannot leave the water. This is the fate of heaven. However, Kuanhuapeng is a process of changing fate against the heaven, which is not allowed by the law of heaven. Therefore, it will bring down the terrible punishment to destroy such a journey against heaven. When Kuan grows to the extreme, 99% of them will die, and when they reach the extreme, 99% of them will be killed by the natural calamity. Therefore, a real Kuanping may not come out in millions of years. Therefore, most of the Kuanping people are the descendants of the real Kuanping. Although Kunpeng successfully changed his life against the heaven and could soar for 9 days, it was still constrained by the law of heaven. Their blood each generation will lose some. The older the age, the more serious the loss. Many of the inheritance of magic will be cut off. To put it bluntly, that is, one generation is inferior to another. Like other races, sometimes there is atavism, and even the blood of later generations goes straight after the ancestors, but not in the Kunpeng people. The strongest existence of the Kunpeng clan must be from the weakest place, the lowest place step by step, and become a strong one through thousands of difficulties and hardships. The real Kunpeng is extremely rare. Even Xia Guhong is such a strong person. It is the first time to see a real Kunpeng strong person. The reason why Longchen can see Kunpeng's identity at a glance is that when its breath just appeared, Longchen felt its will. Like the real dragon will, Kunpeng will disobey the constraints of heaven, fight with the law of heaven, pursue freedom, but also with the arrogance of people blocking killing people and gods blocking killing gods. The appearance of Kunpeng is full of vigor. Even the momentum created by the demons is suppressed by it. The breath of Kunpeng and the will of Kunpeng are just like the arrival of the ruler of the 9 days. It is arrogant and tyrannical and cannot be blasphemed. When the space channel, the endless figure disappeared, suddenly the huge wings suddenly cut across. Click, click. The huge passage, like a blade of iron, was torn into a big hole hundreds of millions of miles long, and heaven and earth were divided into two. Boom! Suddenly, the void burst open, and a larger channel appeared. Then people saw an unimaginable figure and flew out of the channel. Its figure is too big, as if a universe pressed over, so large that people cannot see its full picture. After it appeared, the huge figure in full bloom, and finally turned into a big, middle-aged man with golden wings on his back. And behind the middle-aged man stood a young man. Similarly, he had golden wings behind his back. There was a rune flashing in his eyes. In that rune, there was a savage spirit. When I saw the young man behind the middle age, countless Tianjiao was shocked. The young man was also a Kunpeng, a real Kunpeng. Your enemy has appeared. Xia Guhong looked at the young man. Longchen nodded his head and said, "This man is very strong. The Kunpeng people are worthy of their reputation. Those who are killed from the weak step by step without the blood and talent of their ancestors are the real strong ones." Longchen felt great pressure from that young man. This is the first time since Longchen entered the fairyland, he felt such a great pressure on a strong man of the same rank. When Longchen looked at the young man, the two Kunpeng strong men looked around and finally fixed their eyes on Longchen's body in the restaurant in the distance through the void. Haha, very good. I didn't expect to meet Kuntu, the descendant of the true dragon's will. This time, you didn't come in vain. Looking at Longchen, Kunpeng, the god-worshipped realm, showed a satisfied smile on his face, and he was kind to the young people behind him. The man, known as Kunt, looked at Longchen and said, "There is the will of the real dragon, but the blood essence is not pure. It is not the blood of the ancestor dragon. His strength is limited. However, the dragon clan and the Kunpeng clan are old enemies. I will not show mercy because you are weak. I will still kill you." Longchen's face changed slightly. Kuntu's sharp insight showed that his blood essence was not pure at a glance. Was the ancestor dragon, he said, the strong one of the dragon clan? When he got the essence of the real dragon, the powerful mysterious dragon clan said that it was the blood essence of its descendants, and the Kun too could see it. And after getting the blood essence, the dragon dust also gave part to Xia Chen and Guoran, and the purity of the blood essence was lower. At the same time, Longchen is shocked. He is also a powerful man. He also has his own confidence. Kunta calls down to kill him, which makes him angry. He can't help but stand up because of the dragon blood in his body or the will of Dandi. Don't be impulsive. When you enter the 3000 world and get my scales, kick him to death. All of a sudden, a long-lost voice rings out in Longchen's mind, and Longchen almost doesn't jump up. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3721, Master. Longchen was surprised and pleased. This voice is the voice of the mysterious strong dragon clan. For this mysterious dragon clan strongman, Longchen is full of respect and gratitude because it has saved the whole Tianwu continent, and Longchen owes it a great favor. In the water, Kuan is a tyrannical fish. In the sky, Peng is an arrogant bird. In front of other races, it can be as arrogant as possible. However, no matter heaven or earth, Kuan Peng is only suppressed in front of our dragon people. Don't pay attention to him now. After entering the 3,000 worlds, I will guide you to find my Dragon King scale. At that time, I won't use any tricks. I'll knock him to death with the power of dragon blood, so that the Kunpeng people can know who is the king against the heaven. The strong man of the dragon nationality hummed coldly. The dragon clan and the Kunpeng clan are mortal enemies. Kuan is born in the water and devours the snake and python. The giant snake python also feeds on Kuan and kills each other. Kuan Hua Peng, python into a dragon, the two fly up in the air, is still the opposite, eat each other, kill each other. Both Kunpeng and dragon are restless creatures. They are arrogant and unwilling to live under the law of heaven. They always want to break through the law of heaven and put the gods above the 9 heavens, free from the constraints of the laws of heaven and earth. What can be called Kunpeng refers to the powerful people who have been killed out of the sea of corpses and blood by relying on their own strength, constantly breaking through, constantly challenging the way of heaven, and stepping up step by step. The same is true of the dragon clan. The strongest dragon is from snake to python, from python to jiao, from dragon to dragon. After hundreds of millions of disasters, it has survived the natural punishment of life and death, and has come up all the way. Zulong is called Zulong, which is to create a Tao of one's own by its own power. In the process of continuous breakthrough, he has created his own magical powers and techniques. In terms of the cultivation concept of the human race, it is similar to the founder of the creation school, so it is called Zulong. Okay, master, don't worry. I will beat him all over the place to find his teeth and let the Kunpeng people know who is the master. Longchen responded excitedly. Ha, master, this word is well used. In those days, the Kunpeng people bowed to the dragon people, but now the dragon people are in trouble. It is not so easy for them to erase that history. The strong man of the dragon clan laughs, and the words of dragon dust go to the heart of it. For your safety, I can't communicate with you for a long time. Be careful. When you enter the 3,000 world, I will instruct you to take my Dragon King scale. The strong man of the dragon clan suddenly said that all the sounds in his mind disappeared in a moment. As if it never appeared in general, and it seems that a certain memory of dragon dust has been erased, just those words, like a dream. For the strong of the dragon clan, Longchen is full of unknowns, but he never worries. He is full of trust in the strong people of the dragon clan. What he said just now makes Longchen's blood boil and his confidence increases. When I got the real dragon essence blood, although Longchen's body was greatly improved, Longchen always felt that it was not strong enough. You know, the realm of the Dragon King is consistent with that of the immortal king of the human race. According to this calculation, if Longchen gets the essence of the Dragon King, even if he can't dominate the fairyland, he should meet with few opponents. However, after the First World War with Monroe Tianai, Longchen found that in front of the power of the Supreme Bone, his power of dragon blood did not seem to have much advantage. Longchen always felt that something was wrong. According to his guess, the strength of the real dragon would never be so weak. Now, the strong dragon clan voice again, his mind suddenly brightened. At the beginning, the strong dragon told him that he must get the dragon scale of the Jiuzhou Convention, saying that the dragon scale was very important to Longchen. Only now does the dragon dust understand that the emotion is very important, because he wants to take the Dragon King scale as the betting. That is to say, without the dragon scale of the Jiuzhou Assembly, he can't absorb the Dragon King scale of the strong dragon clan. The mysterious strong dragon clan is full of goodwill to the dragon dust. That is to say, without betting, the dragon dust directly absorbs the Dragon King's scale and is afraid to die. Therefore, a buffer is needed. The strong body of the 9-star domineering formula cultivated by dragon dust cannot directly absorb the Dragon King's scale after entering the fairyland. Longchen can't imagine how terrible the Dragon King's scale is. For a time, Longchen was full of excitement and expectation. He had a premonition that when he came out of the 3000 world, his dragon dust was no longer the same as before. Thinking of this, facing Kunta's condescending eyes, Longchen's anger is not so strong, and he slowly sat down. Originally, countless people looked at Longchen and saw him stand up. They thought that Longchen was going to fight Kuntu. However, when they saw Longchen sitting down again, people were astounded. Then, a look of ridicule appeared in the corners of countless people's mouths. They thought that Longchen had counseled him. However, Kunta's face was always indifferent, and he didn't care about Longchen's actions. It seemed that Longchen didn't dare to fight, which was in his expectation. The arrival of the demons, like the demons, separated a piece of land. As their territory, all ethnic groups had powerful people to sit on, and each other's well water did not violate the river. Although they were hostile, they all tried to restrain themselves. After all, the super strong are all here to support the scene, so they can't do it easily, because once they do, the world will be broken down, and the entrance to the 3000 world may disappear, which will delay the event. With the arrival of the demons and demons, more and more powerful people of other races have arrived. It is obvious that Longchen and others came early. In the next few days, the strong people who received the news began to come together. The number of people became more and more. The huge purple summer city began to become crowded. The underworld strongmen also appeared. They came across the gate of the underworld. The number of the underworld strongmen was not less than that of the demons, and there were many underworld monsters in them. They could not be transformed into forms, but could only appear as noumenon. Similarly, the underworld strongman is led by a terrible strong one. The strong one is an old man with one eye, half of his head has disappeared, and looks very frightening. His breath is very strange and can't be seen clearly. However, his mount is a dragon of the underworld. His cultivation has reached the level of God's respect. He has a mount of God's respect state, which makes countless strong people startled. I'm afraid his identity is a little frightening. After the arrival of the underworld strongmen, they looked at the whole scene, but when they saw the dragon dust, their faces changed, and they were murderous in an instant. Are you dragon dust? The brother of Wu Tian, the one-eyed old man, looked at the dragon dust, with endless killing intention in one eye, and his face was gloomy. When he saw this group of people, Longchen felt bad, because all of them were from the underworld, and Wu Tian was from the underworld. There was a deep hatred between the two and the heaven. When Longchen was in the underworld, Wu Tianzheng was fighting everywhere to clean up the rebellion and massacre the Yu people. As Wu Tian's brother, it is estimated that the Yu people may also know some news. Now these people look at him, a pair of eager-to-eat-him-alive posture. Longchen understand what they worry about, what to come. The other strong men all looked at Longchen in shock. They didn't know what the dragon dust could do to make such a terrible strong man have a killing intention. I see. Your head was shot by my brother Wu Tian? Longchen looked at the one-eyed old man with a clear look on his face. Boom! With the opening of dragon dust, hundreds of millions of powerful men in the underworld came out of their scaffolds one by one, and their murderous spirits soared to the sky. At that moment, all the creatures in Xianshan were shocked. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3722. The war is about to break out. The hundreds of millions of powerful men in the underworld are staring at the dragon dust. It seems that as long as the one-eyed old man says a word, they will rush up and chop the dragon dust into meat and mud. Among the hundreds of millions of powerful people, there are tens of thousands of gods, tens of thousands of half-step gods, and hundreds of supreme heaven pride. The rest are elites among the powerful in the underworld. This group of people covetous a person, and their momentum alone can frighten people into despair. However, Longchen was calm in the face of so many powerful people in the underworld. He said coldly, Do you want to kill me? Even if all your disciples in the land of God and monarch have done their best, I can't help it. Unless you, who are strong in the realm of God's reverence, do it, my elder brother will do the same. The powerful ones will fight against each other and disrupt the laws of heaven and earth. When the time comes, the entrance of the 3,000 worlds will be destroyed, and we will not be able to enter the 3,000 worlds. If you dare to attack, I believe that you in the underworld will become the target of public criticism and will be attacked by the masses. So, I bet you don't dare to do it. So, put away your weapons and stop pretending. Brother Wu Tian and I are brothers. The fire of hatred between you and Ming will also burn on me. It doesn't matter. Let's fight for life and death in 3,000 worlds. From the moment when Longchen and Wu Tian made a vow, Longchen was destined to stand on the side of Wu Tian. Therefore, he also had to shoulder the hatred of the Yozu. He didn't care. When the dragon dust opened his mouth, the one-eyed old man's eyes showed a cold light. He wanted to take down the dragon dust and give his head to Wu Tian, because half of his face was damaged by Wu Tian's gun and could never be recovered. This is the biggest humiliation in his life. He is not Wu Tian's opponent, but when he saw the dragon dust, he immediately thought of a way to revenge. However, as Longchen said, other people can do it, but a strong man of his level can't do it. If the disciples start to fight alone, they may not be the opponent of Longchen. If the world is so big, how can he find Longchen again? Now, we can only see the real chapter in the 3,000 world as Longchen said. No matter it is the Terran, the demon or the monster, the strong people all look at the dragon dust. They can't imagine that the dragon dust has such a big reputation. Who is the Wu Tian? In addition, many powerful people in the outside world don't know about the battle between the nether and the underworld. However, they see that hundreds of millions of powerful people in the underworld regard dragon dust as their mortal enemy, which is tantamount to raising the fame of Longchen to an unprecedented height. At the same time, countless Tianjiao are also aroused to strive for strength and win, and they want to compete with Longchen. You know, fame is good or bad. Even if you are a villain, as long as fame is big enough, it is also a kind of honor. Don't worry, my lord. Within 3,000 years, my disciples will take the head of dragon dust. A supreme god of the underworld said to the one-eyed old man, "By you? Don't blame me for not reminding you that if you want to trouble someone in the dragon, you'd better find a few more people. In this way, you can take care of yourself on the way to Huangquan in the face of the challenge of the most powerful man in the underworld." Longchen sneered and responded. Anyway, he couldn't fight. Naturally, Longchen would not let the man put out his words. There's a way to fight for life and death. The most powerful one in the underworld sneered. At that moment, Longchen was a little moved. In the eyes of Longchen, this man was no longer a person, but a fresh and supreme heavenly fruit. Kill one, and in the future, there will be another supreme strong one in the Dragon Blood Army. When the Dragon Blood Legion reunites, the whole legion is all the supreme level genius. That is how arrogant and domineering. But there are too many strong people of all ethnic groups here. Although Longchen is conceited, he still dare not be careless. Because there are many people who can bring a very strong threat to Longchen, it is not cost-effective to expose the cards in public. Longchen, you are not really in vain. In the face of Kuntu standing up and sitting down, and facing the challenge of a man from the underworld, do you want to be a turtle with shrinking head? Among the strong of the Terran, some sneered. This man's words are extremely vicious. This is to force Longchen to go out to war and not give him any way to retreat. Poof, as a result, the man was hit by a divine light just as he finished speaking. It was a powerful man. It was a seal script that hit him. If he was struck by lightning, a mouthful of blood gushed out, cracks appeared on his forehead, and his body almost broke. All the people around him were frightened and ran away immediately for fear of being implicated. And the strong one who was hit by the seal script, his body was in a flash, and the whole person turned into a streamer, and he escaped. The Fu Zhuan appeared quietly. He only paid attention to taunting the dragon dust. Until the Fu Zhuan was added, he did not respond. He was almost shocked to death. Although he was not dead, he was also seriously injured. He immediately ran away and looked for a place to heal his wounds. Well, frog can't speak of the sea, summer insects can't talk about ice. My boss is also you can discuss? That's funny. Come on, you have seen the effect of this silent thunderbolt. Before I said it was powerful. You don't believe it. Do you believe it now? Xia Chen shouts with a seal script in his hand. It turns out that Xia Chen and Guoran are setting up stalls. People around them are shocked by the arrival of the demons and powerful people in the underworld. They all look up at them and interrupt Xiaoqin's propaganda. Xia Chen found that the business was too good to be busy, so he began to depict the powerful and more profitable Fuzhuan. However, others did not know what to explain. People were still skeptical and didn't want to buy it because the price was too high. The man who provoked Longchen just now happened to be not far away from his stall. Xia Chen didn't do it twice and used the script to shade the man. He was also an idiot. He felt very bad. When the rune was added to his body, he didn't make any effective response. He was almost shocked to death by his seal script. The man did the best propaganda for Xia Chen. People saw a piece of Fuzhuan, which could make the most powerful people vomit blood, so they wanted to buy it one after another. 100,000? Didn't you say 80,000 just now when they heard the price? Some people were not happy. It was just now. Now it's time for the supreme class to test the talisman with his body. He was injured and vomited blood. He almost lost his life. Don't you think he should pay some performance fee? Guoran said with a smile. Even if the performance fee is paid, it should be given to that person. What's your charge? Someone said angrily. That man is the trust we asked. It's okay. Okay, at this price, we can almost kill the supreme genius, Wang Jing of 100,000 immortals. It's already a very real price. Didn't you see how hard it is for our inscriptions to depict Fuzhuan? Guoran said with a smile. No one will believe it. It is impossible for a supreme Tianjiao to perform with his life. Hard work? He just scratched on the paper, and a piece of Fuzhuan was finished. This is also called hard work? Hearing the hard work, these strong men were immediately angry. Xia Chen is holding a writing brush and writing on the seal script. Almost in a blink of an eye, a piece of Fuzhuan is finished. It's easy and comfortable. Where is the meaning of hard work? Pull it, it's Wang Jing, 100,000 immortals. Why don't you grab it? Some people were indignant. It said that there's no way to get money like this. Come on, you can buy and sell freely at this price. If you don't buy, you can't ask for a place. Don't delay others to buy. Guoran laughed shamelessly. Guoran said that although these people complained about it, they still bought them, and they bought several or even more than a dozen. As a result, money flowed into Guoran's pocket like running water. The speed was no different from stealing money. After such a disturbance in the summer morning, the powerful men of the underworld did not draw a territory against the dragon dust any more and became quiet. Ill go, so many beauties. Guoran was trying to collect money. Suddenly there was a commotion in the distance. Guoran looked at the distance and jumped up. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3723. In the distance, a large group of women in colorful clothes and graceful figures appeared. These women were beautiful and moving, just like fairies coming out of the picture, without worldly spirit. They are like the spirits in the mountains, with endless spirit and beauty. Their eyes are as clear as water. If they are not polluted by the earth, they can't bear to touch them. As soon as these women appeared, they immediately attracted the eyes of countless people. Even the eyes of the ferocious demons and powerful people in the underworld were much softer. The dealing people are coming. Someone recognized the origin of the women. With the emergence of the women of the dealing clan, the powerful people of the spirit clan, who had come sporadically, approached them one after another, as if they had found a family. Lingzhu is a general name for those races who are not fond of fighting and killing, but are close to the way of heaven. There are tens of thousands of spiritual clans. They are basically kind-hearted races and will not harm anyone maliciously. However, there are also terrible beings among them. They don't provoke anyone easily. However, if someone provokes them, they will explode, which is also very bloody. The dealing people are well known for their kindness. Even if they are hurt, they seldom retaliate against others, but try to stay away from those who hurt them. Therefore, as soon as the dealing clan appeared, other powerful Lingzhu people all approached them. On the one hand, they came to hold a group, on the other hand, they also wanted to protect the dealing clan. When the powerful people of the spirit clan gather together, it makes countless people's eyes shine. These people are beautiful men and women. They are not only beautiful, but also beautiful and pure. Looking at them, people feel like they have been baptized. When the strong men of the dealing clan appeared, Long Chen looked at them and saw a smile on his mouth. The smile was very warm. He liked the Lingzhu very much, liked their kindness and their simplicity. Looking at them, Long Chen was filled with peace and joy. Most of the time, Long Chen went to protect them without fear of any danger. Now he suddenly understood that he was not guarding the spiritual family, but protecting the goodness and the pure land in his heart. They were an indispensable and important part of the world. The arrival of the powerful people of the dealing clan has caused quite a stir. However, some evil people looking at the beautiful women of the dealing clan have evil light in their eyes and obviously have evil thoughts. There are thousands of people from the dealing family. All of them are women. The first one is a beautiful woman and a strong God-worshipping environment. However, she has a soft breath and no sense of oppression on others. On the contrary, people want to get close to her. The beautiful woman, who had just arrived, said hello politely to other powerful spiritual people. She always had a sweet smile on her face. More and more powerful spirit clan soon gathered millions, and even some people saw tree demons, stone giants, elves, all kinds of spirit animals. Their races are very complex, but they are very harmonious together, and they are not on guard against each other. The spirit clan is not distinguished by blood or soul. They identify the same clan by breath. The breath is peaceful and peaceful without worldly atmosphere. They will be regarded as the same kind. No matter how tall and fierce each other is, they will trust each other. A beautiful woman of the dealing family suddenly looks up at the restaurant where Long Chen is. She looks at Long Chen from a distance of thousands of miles. In her beautiful eyes, a strange surprise emerges. All of a sudden, her figure disappeared, and the colorful light appeared in front of Long Chen. The figure of the beautiful woman slowly appeared in the light. As soon as the beautiful woman appeared, she suddenly knelt down on one knee, holding the hand of Long Chen and kissing her affectionately. The dragon dust was frightened and hurriedly said, "Master, you can't make it." This is a strong man of God's respect. When he salutes him so much, Long Chen is a little flustered. He also wants to return the salute on one knee, but he suddenly finds that he can't do it. At that moment, he did not know why his legs became stiff and could not bend at all. Unless he could break his legs, he could not bend his knees. Long Chen vaguely felt that this might be related to the will of Dandi. He was not allowed to bend his knees to anyone, even his relatives. The beautiful woman's movement not only startled Long Chen, but also Xia Guhong. Yu Qingxian covered her lips with her hands, and her eyes were full of disbelief. The beautiful woman gently kisses on Long Chen's hand, slowly stands up with a smile, reaches out her hand in front of her chest, and goes through an ancient and noble etiquette. "You are the benefactor of our dealing family. Please forgive me for my bold gift." The hand-kissing ceremony of dealing family is not only the highest etiquette to the benefactor, but also a way of information transmission. In this way, I can know that what happened to you about the dealing people. I hope you don't mind. Of course, I don't care about it, but am not very polite when you're such a senior. I'm a bit abrupt. Long Chen is a little embarrassed. In fact, Long Chen really hates some red tape. He is a careless person and doesn't know how to return a gift. It will appear that he is too rude and impolite. Thank you very much. Thank you for helping us dealing people twice. I wonder if you can move your car and have a talk with us. The beautiful woman said with a smile. At this time, the women of the dealing clan began to wave to him in the distance. They wanted to rush to him. But the distance was too far, they could not squeeze in the crowd, nor could they fly over other people's heads. It was too impolite, so they kept waving to Longchen, and their eyes were full of expectation. This dragon dust immediately hesitated. The beautiful woman said with a smile, "3 of you can be together. Your friends are our spiritual friends. Longchen, take Qingxian with you. Young man, you should look like a young man. Don't look forward and backward, and be hesitant just like an old man." Xia Guhong said with a smile. With a smile, Longchen grabs Yu Qingchuan's hand. Before waiting for Yu Qingxian to express her position, the beautiful woman smiles and waves her jade hand, and the divine light envelopes them. People have already appeared among the butterfly spirits. When Longchen and Yu Qingxian appear, the girls of the dealing clan begin to dance and join them. They sing songs that they can't understand. Their voices are as beautiful as the sounds of nature. At that moment, it seems that the whole world has become a pure land. There are no disputes, no killing, no precautions. They just need to listen to the dark sound of the road quietly. At first, Yu Qingxian was still a little embarrassed, but soon she put aside her reserve and was pulled to jump by the dealing women. Seeing Yu Qingchuan's face full of relaxed and comfortable smile, Longchen's heart is full of satisfaction. If there were no disputes in the world, it would be great if everyone sang and danced every day. "Your Highness," suddenly a disgusting voice came and broke the original happy atmosphere. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 37:24 Longchen and Yu Qingxian hold hands. They have just learned the dance that the dealing people taught them. They dance with their rhythm. Yu Qingxian is happy like a child. Without childhood, she felt for the first time that people can be so trusted, so harmonious, and so relaxed. The most important thing is that so many people around are so pure, and the soul of each person is as pure as a piece of white paper, which can remove all the defense and camouflage. This feeling is so moving. But when she was in the dreamlike world, a cry woke her up from the dream. "Duke Wei." Soon, Yu Qingxian saw the angry and livid Duke Wei, who was looking at her coldly. All of a sudden, the rhythm was disrupted. The singing and dancing girls of the dealing group stopped singing. They looked at the ferocious Duke Wei and even some of the dealing girls, who were scared to retreat. Yu Qingxian quickly pulls the jade hand out of Longchen's palm. During this time, she almost forgot the man of Duke Wei. At this time, he suddenly ran out, and Yu Qingxian was like a child who had made a mistake and became a bit at a loss. Before that, she had forgotten the Duke Wei, and of course she had forgotten her identity as a princess of the Rosefinch Empire. When she was with the girls of the dealing family, she felt like a butterfly, playing carefree among the flowers and enjoying the sunshine and rain. Now the appearance of Duke Wei broke all the dreams and brought everything back to reality. Longchen saw Duke Wei, especially his old face wrinkled like his crotch. Longchen really wanted to slap him to death. This man is really annoying. "Your Highness, Princess, how can you be so disregard of your integrity? Where do you put the face of the Rosefinch Empire in such a low status? If the Lord knows, where is his old man's face?" Duke Wei's voice and voice were fierce. Yu Qingxian is like a little girl who has made a mistake. She lowers her head and doesn't say a word. Her lovely appearance makes people feel distressed. "Duke Wei, this matter." Longchen couldn't help saying, "Shut up. You're nothing. You're not qualified to talk to me." Duke Wei snapped. Choking, when Minghong Dao comes out of its scabbard, a cold and murderous spirit rises to the sky. At that moment, the world changes color, and the fierce pressure makes the void roar. When the dragon dust comes out of the sword, people can even see that the invisible killing intention forms a transparent ripple, sweeping all directions. When covered by the ripple, the strong people on the scene felt their hair standing up regardless of their accomplishments. At that moment, they seemed to see the killing intention of the dead mountain, the sea of blood, and the dragon dust. Even the strong people in the God-respected environment were moved by it. It's a terrible intention to kill. How many creatures have he killed? The idea of killing is beginning to squeeze the way of heaven. A powerful man in the divine realm was shocked. It is said that too many creatures are slaughtered by one person, which will make heaven and earth feel uneasy. When his intention to kill blooms, the way of heaven will be oppressed and dare not fight against it. It's just that they are all legendary things, and no one has ever seen them in reality. So when dragon dust's killing intention blooms and people see the murderous aura radiated, they are shocked. You eunuch, I've been patient with you for a long time. Repeat your fart just now? The dragon dust Ming Hongdao pointed at Duke Wei. He was furious. The eunuch humiliated him again and again. He didn't take it seriously. However, seeing him scolding Yu Qingxian so much, Long Chen's anger was finally ignited. His fierce intention of killing locked in Duke Wei. As long as he dared to act recklessly again, Long Chen would kill him today. You! Pointed by Long Chen's long sword, he was firmly locked in by his fierce killing intention. Duke Wei didn't expect that Long Chen could enter such a terrible state in an instant. At this time, it is too late for him to enter the combat state. Under the lock of Long Chen's killing intention, any change of him will cause a blow of dragon dust Ming Hongdao. Although he was a strong man of the half-step god, he was dominated by the dragon dust. He was at a disadvantage and didn't dare to move. Long Chen, it's me who made mistakes first. Don't embarrass Duke Wei. I beg you. Yu Qingxian sees that Long Chen's eyes are filled with killing intention. He knows that Long Chen is really angry. He is afraid that he will really kill Duke Wei. Yu Qingxian also knows that Duke Wei has gone too far. What kind of identity is Long Chen? Before that, he has been targeting Long Chen, and Long Chen has been holding on to him. He really thinks that Long Chen is easy to bully, so he loses his face. Seeing Yu Qingxian pleading, Long Chen takes a deep breath and suppresses her anger. Long Chen can't listen to Yu Qingxian's words. Long Chen slowly takes back Minghong's sword, but the killing intention between heaven and earth does not disperse for a long time. It can be seen that Long Chen's anger is still burning in his heart. Seeing Long Chen take back his long sword, Duke Wei's face is still very ugly. He was pointed by a younger generation with a knife. This is the biggest humiliation in his life. Mr. Wei, I will try my best to cooperate with you and not make it difficult for you, but I hope you don't embarrass me. Let's go. Yu Qingxian said coldly that she was disgusted with this Duke Wei, and her tone was no longer polite. After that, Yu Qingxian looks at Long Chen and smiles apologetically. At the same time, she salutes the dealing people who are scared to hide in the distance, and then leaves. Dragon Dust is right. If you don't die in 3000 world, come to my Zhuke Empire in the future, and I will let you know how to be a man. Duke Wei looks at Long Chen with a look of gloom in his eyes. I will go to the Rosefinch Empire. I will not teach you to be a man, but I will teach you to be a ghost. The Dragon Dust responds coldly. For this Duke Wei, if Yu Qingxian did not intercede, he would have killed the eunuch with a knife. This man is so hateful that he still threatens him. Well, you'll see, young man. Duke Wei snorted coldly and walked behind Yu Qingxian. Long Chen quickly informed Xia Chen to let the disciples of the great Xia Empire leave quickly, so as not to be seen by Duke Wei. He must throw a lot of fire on these disciples. After all, they are not princesses. They will become the bluster of Duke Wei. Yu Qingxian is also very clever. She deliberately goes to the opposite direction of Xia Chen to buy them some time. A good dance party was so mixed up. Long Chen looked at the beautiful woman and said, I'm really sorry to have caused you trouble. Thank you for your kindness. In the future, no matter in the 3000 world or in other places where there is a need for help, squeak, go through fire and water, and never say goodbye. The benefactor's words are heavy. The woman was in a hurry. Long Chen gives an apologetic smile to those girls who are frightened. A good dance party is ruined by the dead eunuch, which makes people suffocate and resentful. Dragon Dust was just about to go to the summer morning to have a look. Suddenly, there was a tremor over the 9 days. Long Chen thought that there was another strong man coming. As a result, a huge door appeared on the 9th day. 3000 worlds are about to open. Some people exclaimed. The strong people in purple sky all of a sudden stood up. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3725 Tian Men appeared, covering the whole Xiantian capital. It was a huge portal. However, the portal just appeared, but it was still in embryonic form. According to historical records, it takes about 10 days for the Tian Men to appear and take some time to open. That is to say, it will take some time before the 3,000 worlds can be opened, but the Tianjiao people here can't bear it anymore. However, after the appearance of Tian Men, there were still many powerful forces in various places. Because of the long way to go or the bad news, some strong people still came to visit one after another. Long Chen returns to the restaurant and drinks with Xia Guhong. Because of the affairs of Duke Wei, Long Chen has a lot of anger. Now Yu Qingxian must be hiding in the distance, so as not to conflict with Duke Wei. The dealing clan is very kind to you and has blessed you with qi and shenhui. It seems that you will have a great deal to do when you enter the 3,000 world this time. Sea Dragon Dust facial expression is not happy to sit down, Xia Guhong says with a smile. Qi Yun Shenhui? Long Chen is stunned. He doesn't feel it all. However, when he exerts his power of perception, he finds that there are a pair of invisible wings behind him, which can't be seen or touched. If Xia Guhong didn't remind him, he didn't find it himself. Qi Yun Shenhui is a unique secret skill of the dealing family. If it is bestowed on a person, even if he is an unforgettable person, he will be favored by the law of heaven and have good luck. However, Qiyun Shenhui is not used indiscriminately. They give their luck to you. If they enter the 3,000 world, they will not have the blessing of luck, which may increase the danger. You should protect them as much as possible. Xia Guhong warned. Long Chen was reminded by Xia Guhong that he was moved and ashamed that the kind dealing family had made such a great sacrifice for him. Long Chen was rude, so he ran to the stall of Guoran and Xiachen. He told Xiachen not to sell Fuzhuan. He made some life-preserving seal characters for dealing people and refined some of the best pills for them. Boss, just as the three of them were discussing things, suddenly one of them rushed out and hugged him. When they saw the man, the three of them were overjoyed. Yueshan, the man was a sergeant chief of the 1st Regiment of the Dragon Blood Legion and was Gu Yang's right-hand helper. Boss, I finally see you. It's great, it's great. When Yueshan saw Long Chen, Guoran and Xiachen, the iron-blooded man burst into tears and was very excited. Good brother, don't cry. When we meet, we will never separate again. Guoran gave Yushan a hug and comforted him. Long Chen examined Yushan's body and found that Yueshan was not a strong man in the early days, but his qi and blood were still amazing. His eyes were sharp as a knife, with endless wild air. It was obvious that after he flew to the fairyland, he must have experienced countless times of fierce fighting to have such a strong breath. Well, there is no coward in my Dragon Blood Legion. If you are not the 1st generation, you can sweep the 1st generation. Long Chen patted Yueshan on the shoulder with great force. In his eyes, he was full of admiration. For others, perhaps resources should be listed in the 1st place and talent in the 2nd place, because it is difficult to cook without rice, without money, everything is in vain. But resources and talent are nothing to Long Chen. What he values most is the unyielding spirit of the Dragon Blood Warrior, and his will never bow to his fate. Today's Yueshan is like this. If you don't have talent or resources, you can still kill here by your own will. Once you combine the resources of Long Chen, he will soar to the sky. Long Chen never expected that he met a man of his own at this time. Before he came to prominence, no one came forward to recognize him. Long Chen thought that there was no Dragon Blood Warrior in this area. After inquiring, Long Chen knew that Yueshan had no backing in the fairyland. He had gone to the Zhongmen several times. Because of being ostracized, he killed people in a rage. He was not only ignored by Zhong clan, but also pursued by Zhong clan. It can be said that Yushan grew up in the pursuit for more than a year. He has survived countless times from death and honed his amazing spirit and will to kill. Although he is not even the 1st generation, few people in the kingdom can threaten his life, which is enough to prove his strength. Because he was a monk, his news was not as good as others. Because he was remote and had no good tools, he had to travel a long way, so he had to slow down others, so he came now. When the brothers met, everyone was very happy. Long Chen gave Yushan a Tiandao fruit directly and let him wake up to the heavenly blood. Unfortunately, Yueshan is a practitioner of water system, and Long Chen's supreme heavenly fruit milk is fire property. Water and fire can't absorb it. If it is absorbed by force, it will be discarded if it is not good. We can only wait and see if we can get the supreme heavenly fruit that conforms to his attributes. As soon as Yueshan arrived, he immediately woke up to Long Chen. Not all the dragon blood soldiers did as well as they did. Many people might come later. Long Chen asked Guoran to take Yushan with him and carry the sign of the dragon blood army, and look around to see if he could meet other dragon blood soldiers. Long Chen and Xiachen are busy working for the dealing family. Long Chen refined some pills, such as healing pills, kudu pills, yanghun pills and so on, which are available to the dealing clan. Xiachen engraves the best life-protecting runes for them. The women of dealing clan are innocent and innocent. They don't know how precious these things are. When dragon dust gives them, they happily accept them. Long Chen and Xiachen also teach them how to use them, when to use them, and some skills. During this period of time, more and more people poured into Xiantiandu. Later, most of the people who came in were strong people of the clan, and few of them were other people. At this time, the strong people who come here are either free cultivation or some small forces, disciples of small schools. After all, powerful schools will arrive at the first time. However, Guoran and Yushan wandered back and forth among the crowd, and Long Chen was really right. Not every dragon blood warrior was just like them. In 10 days they found a total of 18 dragon blood soldiers. They are basically the same as Yueshan. They are either in loose repair or come along with the strong members of the clan. The strength of the sect is very poor. Even some of them are protected only by the midterm cultivation of Jiawang. When the 18 dragon blood soldiers were together, one by one excited. After the collapse of the world, they reunited in the fairyland for the first time. That mood could not be expressed in words. Although only 18 people have been found, Long Chen and others are still excited because they know that the entrance of 3000 world is all over the world. If so many people can be found here, many people will enter other entrances, which may not be less than Xiantian. Long Chen asked the Summer Guhong, it is said that the entrance of Guangxianshan should be more than 5, and Xiantian is only one of them. Among the 18 men, one soldier happened to be a fire practitioner. Long Chen gave him the supreme heavenly fruit directly. However, in order to hide, he did not let him take it immediately. Instead, he waited until he entered the 3000 worlds. Boom! On the 10th day, the gate of the sky finally moved. At that moment, everyone was nervous. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3726 Long Chen, Guoran, Xia Chen and 18 dragon blood soldiers stood together. At this time, Xia Guhong also stood beside them. The gate is about to open. You should pay attention to it. You don't need to take the initiative to enter. The door of space will absorb you in. And the moment that you are sucked in, you should guard against other people's sneak attack, because when you enter the passageway, there will be a flow of space. The flow of that space is uncontrolled. At that time, you will certainly separate and rush in with the powerful people of other races. At that time, a moment of chaos and war will be inevitable. Xia Guhong warned. Dragon Dust nods, this is to pay attention, others he does not worry, but the dragon blood soldiers need to pay attention to. The 3000 world is different from the small world you used to enter. The 3000 world is a big world, and it is basically the same as our 9 days and 10 earth laws. However, the 3000 world is a closed world. The source of power consumption is very small, which contains the chaos of the birth of heaven and earth. Therefore, in the 3000 world, the best environment is to impact the fairyland. You are lucky. If you catch up with it, you must cherish it. In addition, the 3000 world is almost the same as the 9 days and 10 places. There are also Terrans, demons, spirits, beasts and so on. In the 3000 worlds, there are also constant battles. If you fall into the territory of other races, you can kill them alone. That is the only way out. Xia Guhong admonished. I'm lucky. I'm afraid of the boss. Guoran said with a smile. Even if I'm not lucky, I can kill. Moreover, I have the blessing of dealing people, and my luck will not be bad. In a word, we all listen to Big Brother Guhong. Don't be careless. This time, there will be a fierce battle in the 3000 world, and we will not be able to run away. Dragon Dust Road. In addition to the Spirit Clan, Long Qin has few friends. If he wants to get more benefits in the 3000 world, he has to rely on his fist. In addition, he'll take care of you again. The alien race in the 3000 world is very dangerous, but what is more dangerous than the alien race is the same race. Xia Guhong looked serious. Long Chen understood Xia Guhong's meaning, and a wry smile appeared on his face. The Terran is really a very ironic race. I'm afraid there are only Terrans who like to kill each other. Suddenly, the door of the space above the 9 days opens. Originally, a mist rises inside the door of the space, and you can't see the situation inside. However, with the opening of the door of space, the world inside gradually becomes clear. Through the gate, people see a vast and boundless world. People see mountains and rivers, see the world covered with ice and snow, and see the burning mountains. This piece of world is too big. The gate of covering the sky is a small window, which can't see the whole world at all. And when the door of space is opened, people suddenly feel a pure breath. At that moment, everyone's pores can't help opening and sucking the breath greedily. When the breath comes into the body, people feel comfortable all over the body, just like a person who has been drinking dirty water, suddenly drinking pure water, as if the whole person has become pure. For a while, people were moved. Countless powerful people sighed that they were not in the right time. They had already passed the kingdom of God and were not qualified to enter the 3000 world. They could only take a few breaths of air outside. And those who are in a strong position feel the breath coming from the 3000 worlds and are excited one by one. This is the world they are about to enter and the place where their destiny will be changed. All of a sudden, the 3000 world trembled. I don't know when a huge lotus appeared, which seemed to cover the whole 3000 world. Lotus is too big, from the door of space, only part of it can be seen. The lotus is slowly rotating, and the vast air of chaos is coming. However, this chaotic chi can only be felt by the strong outside, but cannot be absorbed. For a time, countless people are itching. The flower of the road, the legendary flower of the road has appeared. Some old people exclaimed. The flower of the avenue has 3000 petals, corresponding to 3000 boulevards. Look at the overlapping petals, it should be. Someone said. Unfortunately, the door of space is too small to see the whole picture. It is said that those who can see the whole picture of the flowers of the road can understand the secret of the operation of the universe and understand the evolution of the universe. When they saw the huge lotus, even those who were in a strong position of God began to stare at it, hoping to have a glimpse of the secret. It's a pity that the flower of the avenue whirled, and one petal turned from their eyes, but not to mention the whole flower of the avenue. Even one petal could not be seen completely. Suddenly, the flower petals of the avenue glowed, and the Taoist light flew out of the door of space, lighting up the world and enveloping all the strong people present. Then, on the flower of the road, there appeared one spot after another. The spots looked carefully, as if they were names. Have you started the roll call? Long Chen was excited because he saw his name on the flower of the road. However, he can only see his own fame, but cannot see other people's names. When looking at other people's names, he can only see spots, which makes Long Chen disappointed. Originally, Long Chen wanted to see if there were names of Mingqi, Chuyao, etc., but now he can't see anything. Moreover, as the flower of the road turns, he can't even see his own name. Countless Tianjiao people, seeing their names branded on the flowers of the road, yelled with excitement one by one. In fact, as long as the strong people on the scene are disciples of the divine kingdom, their names will be branded on the flowers of the road. The flower of the road rotates, and Long Chen's eyes are always staring at the flower of the road. Every time the flower of the road is branded with a name, A divine light will fly out of the crowd and fall on the flower of the road. Long Chen found that with only 10 petals, the flower of the road branded the names of all the strong people present, and then there was no divine light flying to the flower of the road. Long Chen's heart was awe-stricken, and Xiachen also noticed this detail. His face was shocked and said, "How many people will enter the 3,000 world?" Because they found that countless names had been engraved on other petals of the flower of the avenue. If only 10 of the 3,000 petals were occupied by purple sky, it would be only 1/3 of 300. According to this calculation, isn't it said that there are still 300 such entrances as Xianshan? At the thought, everyone was shocked. They finally understood how big the world was. This is better. In the 3,000 world, we will certainly meet more old friends. At that time, our Dragon Blood army will have a good fight in the 3,000 world. Dragon does smile away. Originally, he didn't meet anyone else. Long Chen was still a little flustered. He was afraid that others would miss the 3,000 world. But now he feels a little worried. Even Emon Yen's ruckus didn't appear, which means that he must be at another entrance. In this way, countless elites will surely gather in the 3,000 world, and Longchen believes that the Dragon Blood army will surely reunite. All of a sudden, the flowers of the road trembled, and a series of divine lights flew out from the flowers of the road, reflecting on all people. The light on each person corresponds to his own name. It's time to start ready to fight. Guoran summoned battle armor for the first time, and entered the fighting state. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3727. All of them were shocked to find all the names of the flowers. What's the situation? This time people are not calm. What does the name disappear mean? Are you not allowed in? The flower of the road was originally colorful, but suddenly turned into pure white. Then the white petals began to turn black, wither and rot, as if the flower of the road was cursed. How could that happen? Some people were so frightened and angry that they didn't know what happened. With the withering of the flower of the road, the black air of the road blooms, and the colorful flower of the road turns into a black lotus flower. As soon as the black lotus appeared, the horror of the divine power bloomed, and then people saw an endless battlefield. The earth is covered with corpses, and countless creatures are fighting madly. When the perspective is closer, people are shocked to find that countless creatures are killing the human race. The strong of the Terran revolted, but they were so many enemies that they were soon drowned. What was frightening was that those who had the worst cultivation were also the strong ones in the fairyland. The king of the world is strong everywhere. Only those who are strong in God's respect can be regarded as the main force. People have seen the strong people in the underworld, the strong in the demon world, the strong in the demon kingdom, the strong in the orcs, and countless creatures that they have never seen before. They unite to kill the Terran. However, what many people did not expect is that the Terran strongmen are extremely strong. With one blow, they can smash the void and cut down the Star River with one sword. The Terran strong men can defeat hundreds with one enemy, and there is no living creature in the same rank that can threaten them. It was 9 stars. Some people exclaimed, people saw a person behind, 6 stars flow, one punch hit a realm king level creatures, and that person's cultivation, but only the fairyland. It's nothing to challenge the king of the kingdom by leaping to the top of the kingdom. However, it's terrible to knock hundreds of king of the kingdom into powder with one blow. The 9-star descendant who is known as the strongest soldier in 9 days and 10 places? Isn't that the existence hunted by Juyo Temple? For a moment, countless people looked at the strong man of Juyo Hall. More than one, there are so many 9 stars. With the passage of perspective, there are countless 9-star descendants on the battlefield. They fight with endless life. However, the perspective of the picture moves too fast, and the battlefield is getting bigger and bigger. Even the warcraft with a body of 10,000 li has become as big as a mole ant. The picture is gradually blurred, and then a bloody sea appears. People exclaimed, they found that this boundless battlefield turned out to be just a small island on the sea of blood. That perspective is still moving to the sky. People see more and more islands, also see the endless sea of blood. For a time, people are scalp numb. They know, they see something amazing. Is this the legendary scene of the Archean War? A strong man's voice trembled and his face was frightened. I'm afraid so, otherwise the Terrans will not be so strong. Someone answered. Because people not only saw the 9-star descendants, but also saw other people and other creatures. Their strength, compared with the current level, is far more than they are now. It is said that the Terrans in the archaic times were the strongest of the Terrans. People still didn't believe it, but when they saw this picture, they finally believed it. Although they only see the picture, when they release their hands, the twisted space and the torn curve of the heavenly way can infer their strength, which is just the destructive force they dare not imagine. Boom! Suddenly, 10 divine lights burst out between heaven and earth, and the endless sea of blood was shattered. At the moment when the sea of blood collapsed, people saw a flower in front of their eyes. With the help of those 10 divine lights, they seemed to see a huge world. But the huge world just appeared, instantly disappeared, with the 10 gods dimmed down, all returned to darkness. In the endless darkness, a huge black lotus wrapped in the endless darkness slowly closed, as if it swallowed the whole world. In the door of space, we fell into a darkness. In the darkness, there was a strange sound. Suddenly, the roar of fury was loud, and then the void was broken. There were countless strong people on the scene. The eardrum was torn, and the blood flowed along the ears, and my mind was in a daze. At that moment, the color of fear appeared on all people's faces. There were endless cracks in the sky above the purple sky, overlapping again, as if the heaven and earth were about to burst into pieces. It's just a picture of the Archean period. It's not in the same time and space as us. How is the power transmitted? The strong cried out in terror. The roaring sound directly shattered the heaven and earth. Even those who were strong in God's dignity were like mole ants in front of the sound, and they did not dare to resist and could only submit. Looking at the space between heaven and earth, the spider web-like crack cannot heal for a long time, and the sound of roar is heard from time to time. All the strong people present are shocked to change color. What kind of existence is this? The sound can be transmitted through the eternal river, and can also shatter the void. Looking at the dark door, people can see nothing but the dark door. Long Chen's heart leaped wildly. Among the sounds, there was a voice that made his blood boil. The blood of the dragon was shaking uncontrollably. As soon as he bit his teeth, he suddenly closed one eye. You can think, well, this kind of cause and effect is very terrible. Seeing the action of dragon dust, Xia Guhong looks serious. I can't care so much. There are good and bad causes and effects. Since no one can say for sure in the future, come with your eyes closed. Long Chen knows that Xia Guhong is kind, but he is not willing to look at it. The left eye of dragon dust turns black in an instant, and integrates with the dark world of the gate of space. When the eyes of purgatory were launched, the darkness in the door of space gradually disappeared, and became a gray world. In the gray world, Long Chen saw the endless chains, interwoven into a large net, and shrouded it. When the giant net shrouded in a moment, Long Chen saw a desolate world. The world was almost destroyed and full of holes, but the world was wrapped in a white holy light. In the world, endless creatures kneel on the ground, praying devoutly, whispering and reciting scriptures. When they heard the scripture, the dragon dust was shocked. What Long Chen didn't expect was that the scripture was the great Buddhist scripture. Although the scripture was unheard of by Long Chen, it was confirmed that it was the great Buddhist sutra. In that broken world, countless creatures are covered with blood, and even some people are dying, but still struggling to support. As they recite the sutra, the light trembles above the broken world. The huge web covers the broken world. The broken world seems to be the prey in the cobweb core. The spider web crazily grows bigger, seems to be pulled by some force, covering the farther place. Long Chen looks at the distance in a hurry. In the endless darkness, he saw a huge figure, dragging a huge net, submerged in the endless sea of stars. Stop quickly! Suddenly Xia Guhong's voice rings in the ear of Long Chen. All of a sudden dragon dust a pain hum. In front of the picture instantly disappeared, his left eye already blood flow like a column. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3728. Longchen was too attentive before. When he heard Xia Guhong's warning, he took back his sight. When he got back, his eyes suddenly felt terrible pain. Longchen was shocked to find that there were countless cracks on his eyeball, which would burst open. Under the sharp pain, even Longchen couldn't help but hum a pain and quickly covered his eyes with his hand. Longchen's heart was frightened. Thanks to Xia Guhong's warning, if you continue to watch, this eye is likely to be lost. Longchen did not expect that when he watched, he did not feel at all, but brought such great harm in silence. His eyes were in sharp pain. Longchen quickly stopped bleeding and put on the blindfold that Bai Shaole's mother gave him. Unfortunately, I missed the most important picture. Dragon dust some chagrin, he did not see the net of people, not to see the appearance of the huge figure. If you see an important picture, not only your eyes will not be able to protect, even your life. It's about the mystery of the 9 days, involving hundreds of millions of creatures. The cause and effect of which is not what you can bear now. Xia Guhong wrote. The implication is that you can see a little bit. If you see the real secret, you may die. At this time, countless strong people looked at Longchen in shock, and they found the abnormality of Longchen. How dare he look at the secrets of antiquity? It's not dead yet, but it seems to have paid a terrible price. I don't know what secret he saw. It doesn't matter what the secret is. Just force him to tell it. After people were shocked, they began to become greedy. Countless Tianjiao regarded Longchen as prey. They wanted to know what Longchen saw. What Longchen sees, he directly bears the cause and effect. After what he says, the cause and effect is not so serious. Therefore, as long as you grasp Longchen, ask him or directly search the soul, you can know what Longchen saw. For what happened in the dark world, not only these young disciples, but also the older generation of strong people were full of shock. They also urgently wanted to know what happened and what kind of existence, with a roar, could isolate the law of time and space and shatter the world. Hey boss, it looks like you're going to be everyone's target. Looking at the greedy eyes of these people, Guoran said with a sneer. It's hard to persuade damned ghosts with good words. Some people want to die, and they can't stop them. What we have to do is send them to another world to repent. Longchen swallows an analgesic pill, carelessly tunnel. At this time, the light gradually appeared in the 3000 world, the darkness faded away, and a holy lotus slowly emerged. It was amazing that the flower of the road reappeared, and everything returned to its original appearance. When the flower of the road reappears, the dark world disappears, the divine light spreads all over the earth, and the earth is full of beautiful mountains and rivers. The world recovers its vitality, the corpse mountain and the sea of blood disappear, the blood and tyranny disappear. The years seem to be a magic hand, and heal the world's trauma. The years weaken everything, as if nothing has happened, and everything begins to flourish and vigorous. What I saw before is like a nightmare. Although the flower of the road in front of me has recovered its original appearance, the picture has made countless people feel frightened. Those who are fighting and arrogant are like being watered down, and the fire of enthusiasm is extinguished. It seems that the 3000 world is not as beautiful as they think. They know that it's not a nightmare. It may have happened in reality, or even in 3000 worlds, recorded by the flower of the road. Although the battlefield they saw was only a glimpse of the battlefield, the picture was very short, but it had already made them panic. The strong men of that era were so terrible that they could sweep them by pulling out one at random. They finally understood why at that time, the human race could stand on the top of all nations, and why that generation was said to be the generation that could never be surpassed. The flowers of the road slowly whirled, but the noisy purple sky was dead. Everyone did not speak. After several breaths, people gradually recovered from the shock. Our Terrans have really had such a brilliant era. Some strong people can't help but sigh that they are full of admiration and worship for those elders. Glory has a fart, but it is not our blood food in the end. We need to beg for mercy before we can survive? A demon-strong man sneered. No matter how glorious the history of your people may be, you need to remember that in the age of chaos, your people are a group of humble slaves. Terrans are a group of idiots who forget the pain after scar healing. It's useless to reason with you. The most effective thing for you is always a knife and a whip. If you don't listen, you will be killed. The powerful people of other ethnic groups also sneer at each other, because in the picture just now, they see their ancestors, and they are shocked and angry. They can't imagine that the Terrans were once so terrible. A group of things that don't know how to live or die. What kind of things are you? Since the ancestors of the human race have been brilliant, we descendants will surely be able to continue to be brilliant. Guaran was furious, pointing to those arrogant foreigners and sneering. Continue to be brilliant? It's a big joke. You people have been killing each other for countless years, and there are countless civil wars. You can kill yourself without our help. Before we came, we saw that you stupid people were crowding out each other, fighting each other, a race that did not understand unity, and continued to be brilliant. Do you want to laugh us to death? The alien strongman laughed. With his smile, countless strong people laughed at the Terran, but the strong people of the Terran were angry and helpless, because the Terrans never seemed to unite, and the words of that man pointed to the point and could not be refuted. The Terrans also know that they should unite, but they can't unite at all. The human heart is the most difficult thing in the world, even more difficult to understand than the law of heaven. In the history of the Terran, there have been countless heroes, but no one can make the Terrans hold together. The words of the strong one of the alien races are ugly, but they are the truth. I'm afraid you can't laugh to death, but I think we can try to kill you. Guaran was so angry that he wanted to kill now. He would be very angry. The 18 dragon blood soldiers, even more, press their weapons. As long as Guaran hands, they will directly kill them. The dragon blood soldiers have suffered a lot, but they have been tempered more and more tenacious. Their determination of fearing death is still as sharp as that of the past. Terran idiots, listen, don't let me see you in 3,000 worlds, or you'll kill one another. A demon beast clan's strong person arrogant shout. The strong men of other clans also yelled, and the meaning of provocation became more and more obvious. Except for the spirit clan, almost all the alien clans began to challenge the Terrans and insult them to the utmost extent. The Terran strongmen are frightened and angry. What's the situation? Is this to repeat the previous pictures? Will the war of the 10,000 nationalities be opened again? Suddenly, the door of space vibrates, and endless light rain falls from the door of space. When the light rain falls on people, people can't help but fly to the door of space. Here we go, ha ha. Someone flew out and yelled excitedly. Suddenly, a light rain fell on Guaran, and Guaran also flew to the door of space. Hi, your mother's egg. I've long been unhappy with you. Guaran flies to the door of space, just passing by the strong one who laughs with the demon beast family, and hits the man with a fist. Poof! The strong man of the monster clan was beaten by Guaran. Looking for death, the fist of Guaran ignited the anger of the demons. They rushed to Guaran directly from the void. At this moment, Dragon Dust's body trembled, and a strange pulling force pulled him to the door of the sky. At that moment, the blood on Longchen's body was boiling. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3729, Dao Dao Xingguang, pulling the strong people of Xiantiandu, rush into the gate of space, and more strong people rush to the door of space. The space passage began to become more and more crowded. Some creatures were very close to each other. Guaran killed the strong one of the demon beasts that passed by. And that monster clan strong person, once laughed at the Terran loudly before, Guaran naturally will not let him go. One punch hits to death. Guaran's move doesn't matter. Numerous powerful monsters roar at Guaran, but many people rush to half of the way and are bounced back by the strange force. In the door of that space, it seems that there is an invisible rope pulling them. They can move in a certain space around them, but beyond that space, they will be limited and bounce back to their original position. Seeing this scene, Guoran roared with laughter. It's been a long time since you've had a bad time with these animals. If there's anyone who doesn't accept it, go ahead and fight. When Guoran called out, other powerful people roared at him. One of the most powerful men in the underworld, who was closest to him, stepped on the void and held a sharp blade to kill him. Humble people, you once slaves, when will it be your turn to be arrogant? The supreme power of the underworld roared like an angry arrow towards Guoran. Is it time for me to be arrogant? Guoran sneers, the man holding a sharp blade, but Guoran is still unarmed, a punch toward the man, unarmed to receive the magic weapon. Boom! There was a tremendous noise, and Guoran snorted, which made his chi and blood roll back several steps. The strong man of the underworld actually flew tens of thousands of miles. People were shocked. You know, everyone was limited by the law of the 3,000 worlds, and the largest space for activity was only 1,000 miles. How did the strong man of the underworld break the shackles and break through so far? And the powerful one of the underworld flies backwards, not in a straight line, but in a parabolic arc. How could it be? Some people's faces have changed. You know, some people have tried. They are pulled by invisible forces and can only go in but not retreat. Even if they can move left and right, their bodies are constantly approaching the door of space, so they can't retreat at all. Their names are engraved on the flowers of the road, and there is no way to retreat. Despicable people, how could you sneak attack? A powerful man in the underworld grabbed the supreme strong man and was shocked to find that when he did not know, there was a blood hole in his eyebrow. Strange rust was scattered on the blood hole. The supreme strong man was dead, and the Yuan god was killed. Despicable, I again mean, can have you mean. You bastards, it's not despicable to besiege the Terrans and deceive the less with more? Guoran sneered. Just now he had a hard fight with that man. The real killing move was not on the supreme arm, but on the left sleeve arrow. The sleeve arrow fused with the rust given to him by dragon dust. The rust was obtained by dragon dust on the ghost ship. With the force of terrible years, it fell on him, and his body would decay instantly. However, Xia Chen and Guoran used the strength of rust years to bless the special runes and create a life-threatening arrow. Once the arrow shoots soundlessly, it will immediately kill the other party's Yuan Shen. Therefore, Guoran's attack, the strong on the scene did not notice how he did it, because everyone's attention was focused on Guoran's supreme arm. Despicable people, you are all going to die. Guoran killed the supreme heaven pride of the underworld. The powerful men of the underworld were furious, and they shot at the Terrans around him. At the same time, the monsters, demons, Blood Clan and other powerful people also began to fight against the Terrans. For a time, the scene was in chaos. In front of the door of space, blood and rain are pouring down from the void. Some strong people of the clan are in a bad situation. Their bodies flash and speed up. They rush straight to the door of space. When they are close to the door of space, their bodies disappear in an instant. It turns out that it can take the initiative to rush up. When someone found out the secret, they immediately rushed to the gate of space, breaking through the interception and pursuit of the big families. Stop the Terrans and kill them. There are strong people of different races shouting. What an idiot! Can you stop Terrans? Death wave, space strangulation. Ji Wuming, a disciple of Imputa, appeared. A strong alien intercepted him. He snorted coldly, opened one hand, and a ripple spread. The power of terrifying space was like a knife, which shattered the surrounding space. Where the ripple passed, those who intercepted him were twisted into blood mist. The power of space, escape. Some strong people exclaimed, those who intercepted Ji Wuming in the alien world retreated one after another, as if avoiding the god of death. Puff, puff. All of a sudden, a fierce murderous spirit came, and countless strong men were shattered. Only a woman appeared. That woman was Juyo Luocha. What makes people panic is that Juyo Luocha doesn't make a move at all, and those who intercept him are shocked to death by the invisible force. Don't stop her. He's not human. One of the most powerful men in the underworld saw Jiyo Luosha. His face changed greatly and he cried out. A group of stupid creatures, even the noble Luosha people cannot recognize. Jiyo Luosha sneers at her. Her whole body is filled with light, forming a strange field in which no one can approach. She suddenly moved, holding a long sword, tearing the void, stabbing at a person, which made people scream. Jiyo Luosha even started to attack others. Its dragon dust, following the direction of Jiyo Luosha's hand, people suddenly see the dragon dust standing with negative hands and flying quietly to the door of space. When the long sword of Jiyo Luosha is only a few feet away from the dragon dust, the long sword of Jiyo Luosha can no longer inch in and is blocked by a strange law, and the whole person bounces back. But Long Chen didn't look at Jiyo Luosha, and then slowly drifted to the door of space. The expression of Long Chen made Jiyo Luosha angry and ignored, which was more humiliating than contempt. However, she knew that the distance between her and Long Chen was limited by the law and could not break through. If she broke through by force, she was afraid that she would open up the law of the flower of the road. In that case, she would lose the opportunity to enter the 3,000 worlds, and she did not dare to take risks. Dragon dust, your life is mine. Jiyo Luosha looks at Long Chen and gnaws his teeth at the tunnel. However, Long Chen still didn't look at her. His attention was focused on those dragon and dragon blood soldiers. These dragon blood soldiers, knowing the idea of Long Chen and others, rushed to the door of space at full speed for the first time after flying up. Although they were blocked by many obstacles, they still took the opportunity to rush into the door of space and their bodies disappeared instantly. Long Chen, Xia Chen and Guoran saw that all the people had gone in, and then they rushed to the door of space. They did not dare to stop them. The people who dared to fight against them were too far away. Everyone could only glare at them. All of a sudden, Long Chen smiles, because he sees a beautiful shadow in front of the door of space. Yu Qingxian smiles at him, saying hello and turns to enter the door of space. Long Chen looks down at Xiantiandu and finds Xia Guhong smiling at him. He knocks on his chest with his fist clenched. Long Chen nods and clenches his fist and knocks on his chest. The dragon dust makes a color to Guoran and Xia Chen. They suddenly rush to the door of space, and their bodies disappear instantly. When dragon dust arrived at the door of space, the void suddenly burst open. A thunder sword cut off the space shackles, straight to the dragon dust to kill. Wang Tao, on the earth, a strong man exclaimed that he should take risks at this time. Is he crazy? www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3730. When Qingao holds the crazy blade, and the endless thunder front rolls, even cuts off the confinement of the void and rushes to the dragon dust. Is he not afraid to lose his qualification to enter the 3,000 worlds? Someone exclaimed. Although Wang Qingao and Long Chen were already standing in front of the 3,000 world portals at this time, they might be ejected in case of any accident at this time. Seeing Wang Qingao make a move, Wang Taibai's face also changed. He didn't expect Wang Qingao to be so bold and take risks for the sake of dragon dust. It's not worth it. At this time, almost all other strong people have entered the 3,000 world. They are not as crazy as Wang Qingao. For them, entering the 3,000 world is more important than anything. Boom! Wang Tianyao's crazy blade, blooming endless thunder light, the void is cut off, in an instant to the dragon dust in front of. I'm sorry. I'm afraid that if you enter the 3,000 world, you will die in other people's hands. It's better to take your life now. Let me see what kind of disciple Xia Guhong can train. Wang Tianao has a ferocious smile on his face. Although Long Chen and Xia Guhong are brothers and sisters, Wang Tianao always believes that the relationship between Long Chen and Xia Guhong must be different. Even if there is no name of master and apprentice, there must be a real master and apprentice. Xia Guhong and Wang Taibei have been rivals for many years. If he killed Long Chen in front of Xia Guhong, he would have recovered the face of Wang Taibei. With Wang Tianyao's hand, the thunder sea rises behind him. Under the thunder sea's roar, the thunder symbol circulates on the crazy blade, which makes 10,000 roads collapse. The huge door of space is shaking because of his knife. What a terrible force of thunder! There are those who are strong in God's respect, and their faces are shocked. Now Wen Tao is just the peak of God's kingdom. If he is promoted to the king of God, I'm afraid that he will directly challenge the strength of the strong one. Bang! Wang Tianyao's crazy blade roared and cut through the void. When it fell in front of the dragon dust, it suddenly stopped. What? People were shocked to see that Long Chen's hands opened and closed suddenly, and even caught Wang Tianyao's crazy blade. Hand in hand to the realm of artifact? People can't believe their eyes. Long Chen's hands are holding crazy blades. On the back of his left hand and right hand, there are a dragon-shaped pattern. The endless force of Thunder's spirit envelopes the arms of dragon dust. The violent power crackles and sounds deafening. Dragon dust is also the master of Thunder Force? People were shocked. Roar. Just then, a giant dragon appeared behind the dragon dust. It was Lei Linger who put the endless force of thunder into the hands of Long Chen. Boom! In a moment, the thunder burst out of the sea. Click, click. All of a sudden, countless cracks appeared on the void, and the huge door of space suddenly trembled and began to shrink slowly. Tianyao, don't waste time with him. Enter the 3,000 world first. The gate will be closed. Wang Taibai's face changed and he cried out. At this time, Long Chen and Wang Tinglao are competing. Lei Linger bursts out with all his strength. Long Chen's big hand seems to be cast on a crazy blade. Wang Tinglao has earned several times without being able to shake his hands open. Long Chen looks at Wang Tao coldly, with a gloomy smile on his mouth. Wang Tao suddenly has a bad premonition. You want me to lose my chance to enter the 3,000 worlds? Dream of it. Now let you go and kill you when you enter the 3,000 worlds. Wang Tao saw the door of the space of hundreds of millions of miles. In a moment, Wang Tao shrunk to hundreds of miles, and his face appeared unwilling and hummed coldly. Choking, suddenly, the crazy blade came out of the scabbard and pulled it out of Long Chen's hand. Long Chen had a scabbard in his hand. When the light blade is pulled away, the scabbard in Long Chen's hand bursts into pieces and turns into a flying rune. It rushes to the crazy blade and is absorbed by it. You'll see. Wang Tao snorted coldly. When he looked at the door of the space, it was less than 100 feet. A flash rushed into the door of space, and his figure disappeared in an instant. When Wang Tao disappeared, Long Chen did not dare to neglect him and rushed to the door of space. Just as the door of space was about to be closed, he ran in again, making countless people sweat hard for him. Long Chen entered the world of 3,000. Even with Xia Guhong's calmness, he could not help but feel relieved. In today's Xiantiandu, only the older generation of strong people are left. Although there are some gratitude and resentment among the big families, they are not young people after all, and they are not so impulsive. They all sit in meditation and wait for their disciples to come out. It's a pity that I'm just a little short of it, and he'll be able to hook up with the crazy blade. Lei Linger was depressed. Previously, Long Chen and Lei Linger cooperated, only defending but not attacking. In order to gain time, let Lei Linger collude with the spirit of Crazy Blade. As long as Lei Linger branded his own rune on the crazy blade, he would directly let the Thunder God's soldier change his master. But in the end, Wang Tao ran away. It was just a little bit of time, so Lei Linger was depressed and stamped her feet. It doesn't matter. You just gave the spirit so much power, although your power is not as pure as Wang Tao. However, there are many kinds of thunder power, and the spirit of Crazy Blade has been fed by you. In the future, if you only eat the single power given by Wang Tianwao, it will be very uncomfortable. Next time we meet it, maybe we don't need to rob it. It will take the initiative to surrender to you. The dragon dust smiles comforting way. Really? Hearing this, Huolinger was overjoyed. Before the communication crazy blade, she spent a lot of effort, but also fed her original power to the spirit. As a result, she failed, so she was so angry. Of course it's true. The spirit of that crazy blade is not very intelligent. Everything depends on instinct. It's too simple to deal with it. Don't worry. Next time you meet him, the crazy blade will be yours. Dragon Dust comforts Wei. That's good. When the time comes, he'll have a crazy blade and the fire spirit will have real fire. We'll combine our two swords to help my brother beat the bad guys. Lei Ling Er giggled and became excited. Seeing that Lei Linger is no longer depressed, Long Chen breathes a sigh of relief. In fact, Long Chen had a chance to capture the crazy blade directly. But that will consume Lei Linger's massive power of origin, and she will fall into a weak state, which is what Long Chen doesn't want to see. Long Chen must keep Lei Linger in a state of total victory before he dares to cross the river. Without Lei Linger's help, he can't survive the cruel and deadly natural calamity. After comforting Lei Linger, the Dragon Dust lets Lei Linger rest at ease, so that he has a chance to observe the world around him. Long Chen found that he was in a desolate world. Looking around, it was full of rocks. Long Chen squatted down and picked up a rock under his feet. He found that the rock had blood-colored lines. It's stained with blood, but it's not human blood, it's not a monster, it's not from the underworld. I've never seen this kind of blood. Long Chen picked up the bloody rock, looked at it carefully, smelled it again and again, but it was too old to recognize. Everything that happened in that picture is true. The location should be 3,000 worlds. Maybe there is a mystery hidden here. Long Chen looked up, but could not see the edge of this desolate world. Finally, he could only choose one direction. I don't know if the blessing of the Butterfly Spirit Clan is not working. Let me also taste the taste of good luck. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3731. As Long Chen walked all the way, he observed the terrain. Suddenly, Long Chen stopped and looked surprised. Isn't this the scorched earth that you can see from the flowers of the road? Long Chen suddenly remembered that when he looked at 3,000 worlds from the door of space, he saw a piece of scorched earth. His memory was amazing. As he walked, he remembered the terrain around him, which was consistent with what he had seen. Remember that at the core of the scorched earth, there is a colored light, which seems to be a wave of flame. Dragon Dust suddenly moved in his heart. If this is the land of scorched earth, he may have come to a treasure land. Hualing Air, come on, let's cooperate. Dragon Dust immediately took out an array disc with a pointer on it. Dragon Dust points on the pointer. At this moment, Hualinger appears behind the Dragon Dust, and her small hand presses on her shoulder. Both of them close their eyes at the same time, and their perception power is instantly dispersed. Click, click. All of a sudden, the pointer on the plate shook, and finally pointed to a place and stopped. We've found that the flame wave is in that direction. Let's go and have a look. The blessing of the butterfly spirit family, whether it's spiritual or not, depends on this time. Long Chen said with a smile. Long Chen took out a dozen of seal characters and crushed one. His body disappeared in an instant and reappeared. The scenery around him had changed. This is a directional transmission symbol, which can lock a general direction for transmission. It is much faster than the galloping speed, and it is not easy to expose. Dragon Dust used 7 directional teleportation symbols in succession. Hualinger said, Brother Longchen, I feel the flame fluctuation. We are a little bit biased, a little bit to the left. The directional transmission symbol is transmitted in a straight line, and the distance is not fixed, so there will be a certain deviation due to the spatial fluctuation. According to the direction of Hualinger's finger, Longchen uses 2 more teleportation symbols. This time, he doesn't need Hualinger's instruction. He also senses the powerful flame wave. The air is filled with terrible flame fluctuations, the world is almost ignited, but it brings a cold chill. This wave its ice soul, God Flame. Longchen and Hualinger screamed at the same time. Although Hualinger has the spirit of ice and devours the fire of fire deficiency, these flames cannot become her original fire. Hualinger controls countless flames. She has the ability to assimilate against the sky and can transform any flame into the original fire. However, in the fairyland, the ability to resist the heaven was limited. She could not assimilate the ice spirit flame and the fire of burning deficiency. These two kinds of flames, she can only control a trace of power. This trace of power consumed, she needs to consume a lot of original power to make up for. However, after making up for it, there is still only a trace of ice spirit flame, and it will not increase anymore. Therefore, Hualinger's ice spirit flame and fire of burning deficiency have only a trace of strength, which can only make a strike. After a strike, they can only wait for recovery. Although the rank of fire of Yensu is higher than that of ice spirit flame, because Hualinger can only control a trace of its power, she does not inherit the magic power of Yensu clan. For her, the swallowing ability of Yensu fire is a little chicken rib. In terms of single round attack power, a trace of ice spirit flame is more powerful than a silk of fire with flame deficiency. Hualinger has always dreamed that if she can refine the power of cost source, her strength will soar to an unimaginable height. However, she was allowed to work hard and tried thousands of methods, but it never worked. Even Long Chen did a lot of calculations for her. She clearly thought it was okay, but in the end, she couldn't succeed. Later, Long Chen came to the conclusion that the top 10 flames in the Skyfire list were bound by the law of heaven, and the power of the day after tomorrow could not be changed. Finally, they had to give up. Now, I feel the fluctuation of ice spirit flame. Even if I am calm like dragon dust, I can't help my heart beating. Hualinger is eager to rush through now. Don't worry. Be steady. Here are 3,000 worlds. There are not only strong people from outside, but also local creatures. Don't be careless. Long Chen and Hualinger continue to use the teleportation symbol to transmit forward. Anyway, Xia Qin has prepared enough Fuzhuan for him. It doesn't cost money, and Long Chen doesn't care. After several times of transmission, the dragon dust came to a huge basin. The basin was so large that it could barely see the edge of it. In the core area of the basin, there are hundreds of flame pillars rising from the sky. Each flame column has a range of millions of miles, and the flame fluctuation of each flame column is different. The flame of the heavenly forest, the flame of the blood demon, the fire of the two polar regions Ilgo. These flames are on the Skyfire list. When Dragon Dust saw these flames, he couldn't help but jump. It's a pity that the core of the basin is blocked by the pillar of fire. Longshan doesn't dare to use his pupils to look at it, so he can't see the situation clearly. Linger, can you see it? Longshan asked. I can't see it. It's strange. It's obvious that the fluctuation of ice spirit flame is sensed. It should be at the core. But at such a short distance, the fluctuation has not become much stronger, just like it's like being cut off by something. Hualinger is a strange tunnel. Isolation. Long Chen's heart is beating wildly. Go and have a look. The dragon dust does not continue to observe, but uses the teleportation symbol directly. The figure of dragon dust flickers and reaches the edge of a flame column. At the edge of the pillar of fire, dragon dust knew what shock was. Tens of thousands of miles of flame gushed out from the ground and went straight into the sky. The roar of the flame was frightening. Perhaps the power of fire itself is not very strong, but its continuous power is awe-inspiring. Hualing Air, can you control this flame column? Longchen asked. No, its body is underground, and the flame is flowing. With such violent power, my body can't go against the current, unless it's the master. Hualinger said. Seeing Hualinger say so, Longchen can only give up. Originally, according to Longchen's idea, Hualinger's body was allowed to control the pillars of fire quietly. That would be tantamount to laying a net. Unfortunately, what he thought was still a little simple. Since it can't, Longchen can only sneak into the core area. This area is too large and the space is unstable. Longchen doesn't dare to use teleportation symbols. If one of them is not good, he will be sent to where he doesn't know where he will be, or even be involved in the turbulent flow of space. The dragon dust lets Hualinger use the power of fire to cover his own fluctuation and dive into the core area. When close to the core area, Long Chen saw countless figures and quickly found a hidden place to hide. When no one noticed, he slowly put his head out. When he saw the clothes of the group of people, he felt awe in his heart. Shengdan Hall, www. Novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3732 Long Chen saw hundreds of thousands of strong people in the clothes of the Holy Dan Hall gathered together. In front of them, it turned out that there was a transmission array. On the transmission array, strong people appeared from time to time. Further forward, there is a huge boundary. Within the boundary, Dragon Dust sees a glacier burning. Brother Longchen, the ice spirit is in the glacier. Huolinger is excited. Longchen nodded. There are also people in Shengdan Hall in the 3000 world of feelings. These are all aborigines, and those who come in are all disciples of the divine kingdom. The breath is not the same as the strong ones here. Longchen found that the disciples, like him, had strong breath, but their breath was not small different from that of local strong people. It should be the living environment that affected the breath. It seems that the St. Dan Hall is going to have an idea of ice spirit. Seeing that there were 3 powerful gods sitting in the crowd, Longchen couldn't help laughing bitterly. If he is not lucky, he ran into the ice spirit flame. If he is lucky, there are a lot of experts sitting here, and the benefits can't reach him. There are 3 gods, tens of thousands of world kings, and hundreds of thousands of fairylands. Such a terrible lineup is really frightening. Longchen didn't dare to act rashly. He hid in the dark and watched quietly. Fortunately, there was a fire spirit. His wave was integrated with the surrounding flame breath. Even the strong god-worshipped environment could not find him. Longchen saw that more and more disciples appeared, and several of them were supreme-level Tianjiao. After these Tianjiao arrived, they met with the 3 powerful gods. After they asked them a few questions, they stood quietly aside. Because the distance was too far, Longchen did not dare to listen to their words or stare at them carefully. He was afraid that the other party would produce a reaction. He could not even see their mouth shape and did not know what they said. However, the new disciples, looking at the glaciers in the formation, were elated and excited. Longchen saw more and more disciples, moved in his heart, and quietly sneaked in from another direction, bypassing the sight of the 3 powerful gods, and slowly drew closer to those disciples. With the passage of time, those disciples expanded from thousands to hundreds of thousands, and the crowd became more and more crowded and had to spread out. Longchen had already approached them and then did not move. The dragon dust made Huolinger change into a set of clothes for the disciples of the Shengdan Hall. When the number of disciples of Shengdan Hall reached 1 million, Longchen quietly approached the crowd while the crowd was spreading outward. Because there were too many people, it was inevitable that there would be some confusion. There was one more person in the crowd, and no one cared about him at all. Obviously, the people here come from all over the 9 days. They don't know each other. Longchen has a new face. Many people just look at Longchen and don't pay attention to him. As a result, Longchen doesn't even bother to change his appearance. Mixing in the crowd, Longchen finally did not have to be so careful and looked at the 3 powerful gods. At this time, they were asking a supreme genius who had just come out of the transmission array and asked what day and region he came from. To Longchen's surprise, the man was also from Xianshan, but his domain was a domain he had never heard of. The strong man nodded his head and said, "Come back to the team. After 3 days, open the ice spirit to help you temper the fire of your life. This is a rare opportunity to maintain your best state." After the disciple quickly saluted, he entered the ranks of disciples. The transmission array was still flashing. From time to time, disciples poured in. Hundreds of people came to each breathing time. However, not everyone inquires about those who are in a strong state of God's dignity. Even if it is the supreme level of Tianjiao, not everyone asks, but only occasionally. As time went on, more and more people gathered. 3 days later, there were more than 40 million disciples in Shenzhen realm. This number really scared Longchen. The disciples of Shengdan Hall are all fire practitioners. About 70% of them are fire practitioners. Only less than 30% of them have extremely strong soul power and relatively peaceful breath. They are Danshio. Among the more than 40 million disciples, there are hundreds of supreme-level Tianjiao, who scared the dragon dust this time. Although he had been in contact with Shengdan Hall, he did not think that they were strong enough, and even felt that they were far worse than Jiuyo Temple and Shueisha Hall. The four main halls under the great Brahmin god are Jiuyo Hall, Shueisha Hall, Shengdan Hall and Wushan Hall. The Wushan Temple has never been exposed to Longchen, but the Jiuyo Temple and the Shueisha Hall have a lot of contact with Longchen. Longchen always thought that the four halls should have the same strength, but the group of disciples in Shengdan Hall was just too terrible. You know, in Xianshan, whether it's in Puda or Liao Benkang's disciples, there are only thousands of them. Is there such a big gap? Or did Liao Bensong and Imputa hide their strength? For a while, Long Chen was a little confused, and some did not understand the routine of Imputa and Liao Bensong. I'm afraid things are not as simple as he imagined. 3 days later, some disciples came. However, as soon as the appointed time passed, the transmission array became dim. At this time, the God-respected Strong suddenly stood up. All of a sudden the nerves of all people tensed up. The powerful one glanced at all the disciples and said, "You are all disciples of the Holy Pill Hall and devout believers of the Brahmin. Today, you will receive the gift of the Brahmin. In front of you, it is sealed with the ice spirit flame which ranks 9th in the sky fire list. This ice spirit flame is not the kind of ice spirit you see outside. It is the real mother flame. Among the 9 days and 10 places, only it is the real ice spirit flame, and the others are just seeds. Although it has been sealed for hundreds of millions of years, its own strength has been less than 1/10 of its heyday, but its power can still destroy heaven and earth. After a while, we will open the sky seizing array to suppress the power of ice spirit flame and let you absorb it. Ice spirit flame with cold air is a kind of fire skill. If you can absorb a trace of ice spirit power, you will get great benefits whether you are refining pills or fighting with people in the future. Whether you can absorb it or not and how much you can absorb depends on your personal ability and nature. In addition, I would like to tell you the good news. After hundreds of times of absorption, the ice spirit flame has reached the point where the oil is exhausted and the lamp is dry. After this absorption, the ice spirit flame will disappear completely. After the ice spirit flame disappears, it is very likely that a master of ice spirit will be born among you. In other words, the power of ice spirit in your body may become a seed. With the improvement of your cultivation, it will become stronger and grow into a real ice spirit flame. When the words of the God-worshipping strong man fell, the present disciples were boiling and could control the ice spirit flame. Wouldn't it be invincible in the future? Open the array. When the powerful man in the Holy Land stopped drinking, Long Chen and others suddenly felt shocked, and they were involuntarily introduced into the glacier. When they entered the glacier, a vast force rolled over them, and countless disciples screamed bitterly. Puff, puff. There are millions of disciples who burst into pieces of ice, but the ice crumbs are burning and turning into ashes in an instant. All the disciples of the Shengdan Hall look frightened. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3733 The Dragon Dust was startled. The pressure in the glacier world was astonishing, and the one who was in a strong position of God had no warning in advance. Dragon Dust is supported by Huolinger. Huolinger has the power of Ice Spirit. The pressure of Ice Spirit flame does not harm him. But for other strong people, it is very lethal. Their body-protecting spirit light is crushed in an instant. In front of the pressure of ice spirit flame, they seem so weak. No. Some people are crazy to resist the pressure of the ice spirit flame, but they are desperate to find that the flame field they have opened has been ignited, and a breath of time cannot support and burst. In the glacial world, it became the purgatory of the human world, and the disciples of the Holy Dan Hall broke up one after another, turning into burning ice debris. Some people began to cry for help to the strong outside the border. Some realized that this was a trap and began to rush out. The road of the strong is paved with flesh and blood and white bones. If the battle is opened, you will not be able to save you. If you want to live on, you can only move forward. If you can't bear the will of ice spirit, you are not qualified to become believers of Brahman. Outside the border, the one with a strong reverence for the gods had a cold face. Just as the man spoke, millions of strong people broke up and turned into flames. 40 million strong people lost 10 million in a few breaths, leaving only 30 million. When these strong people die, their bodies will be crushed into ice debris and start to burn. When they burn, others feel less pressure. Hold on, don't be afraid, concentrate on your mind and suppress your fear. Their death has bought us time. Don't waste it. A supreme-level Tianjiao exclaimed. It was a big man with fiery red hair, like an angry lion. He stopped drinking, countless people calmed down, suppressed the fear in their hearts, and began to fight against the pressure of ice spirit flame. As the fear faded away, they found that they could gradually adapt to the terrible pressure, and were overjoyed for a time. However, as the corpses of those dead disciples burned out, the power of ice spirit flame began to grow stronger again, and people understood the meaning of the Supreme Realm Elder. This is clearly an examination of the survival of the fittest. After the death of the weak, the body burns, giving the strong a chance to breathe. Hoo. Some people have begun to rush forward along the mountains and rivers. These strong people are the supreme level Tianjiao. They seem to understand something. As they moved, others rushed forward, and they understood that if they wanted to live, they had to move forward. There was no way out. They don't know what kind of assessment this is, but they know that they can't all die as long as they are strong enough to survive. The performance of being strong enough is to be able to rush to the top of the glacier, which is sealed with the body of the ice spirit flame. Only close enough to it can we prove that we are strong enough. Looking at countless people gnashing their teeth and running wildly, a cold feeling appeared in the deep of Long Chen's eyes. He understood the intention of Shengdan Hall. This array has a strange ability. If a strong person dies here, it will dilute some of the power of ice spirit and flame. The diluted strength will be sealed by the big array and will not disperse, and will eventually be absorbed by the strong living here. Long Chen doesn't know the array, but through Huelinger, he can feel everything here. The strong people here are all strong in fire attribute. After their death, they contribute their strength to restrain the ice spirit flame, which is sealed and irresistible. Dragon dust can even feel the anger of ice spirit flame in the mountains and rivers. Tough enough, with a cold hum, the dragon dust ran to the top of the glacier with the crowd's pace. Originally, the more upward it was, the more powerful the ice spirit flame was. It was as if the invisible world had been pressed down and people couldn't breathe freely. But with the constant death of people, the constant flame generation, the pressure is sometimes strong and weak. For the real strong, it does not pose a fatal threat. Glaciers, hundreds of thousands of miles around, if it is in peacetime, for these strong people, want to cross, easy. But now, under the pressure of ice spirit, people are struggling, covered with fire, but the piercing cold can invade the spirit. The soul power of countless strong people is not strong, and their heads are directly smashed and killed on the spot. No, I don't want to die. Some people broke down, watching the people around them die one by one, while the top of the glacier is far away, which makes people despair. From the beginning to the present, only a stick of incense time has passed. 30 million people and 10 million people have turned into ashes. Advance. The future is hopeless. Retreat. The back road has been broken. They can only perish in the unwilling howl. And the strong outside the border, looking at this scene, no pity, just quietly watching. Huelinger, can you communicate with it? Long Chen asked. Not yet. I have clearly sensed it and passed on my mind to it, but it ignored me. Huelinger said. Please, just now I can feel his anger. Now his will to be angry is getting weaker and weaker. I'm afraid it has run out of oil and the lamp will not last long. Long Chen is worried. Long Chen took a look around, and he couldn't go on like this. The flame that these people burn after death will continuously dilute the power of the ice spirit flame. You must get it first. Dragon dust suddenly bite teeth. Behind the thunder wings emerge, suddenly people like a lightning rush away. What? As soon as the dragon dust made an effort, he immediately went out of the crowd, took the lead, and galloped to the top of the mountain, attracting countless people to exclaim, "Want to get the ice spirit first?" Dream the big man with long red hair on fire, his hands were imprinted, the void trembled, and a roar came from the sky, and a flame unicorn appeared. He rode on the flame unicorn, and rushed toward the glacier, closely following the dragon dust. Ancient fire unicorn? Long Chen is surprised. The unicorn is not a flame spirit beast, but an ancient god beast. Long Chen didn't expect that this red-haired man had his own god beast. What he called out in the enchantment must be the original god beast. The flaming unicorn was flying like lightning and was closely following the dragon dust. At this time, other supreme-level Tianjiao people saw this and roared in succession. Some people called out the wings of the flame, others stepped on the flying sword, and those who had no special ability threw their legs like the wheels of the car, and the speed was increased to the extreme. Hundreds of the most powerful, crazy sprint, straight to the top of the mountains and rivers. At this time, they began to play with their lives. Longshan didn't expect that the flame unicorn was very fast. After only a few breaths, he caught up with Longchen. "Damn it, I don't care." The dragon dust suddenly stops drinking. The force of thunder breaks out and turns into a thunder falcon, leaving the fire Kirin far behind in an instant. At the moment of dragon dust incarnating Lei Falcon, the faces of those people outside the border changed. The one with strong divine dignity drank, "Kill him, he is not from our holy Dan Hall." www. Novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 37-34. The whole body of dragon dust is wrapped up by lightning and turns into a huge thunder falcon. It breaks through the air and completely exposes his identity. You know, although some people with strong fire attributes can control some other forces besides the power of fire must be the dominant force, and absolutely no one can have such a huge power of thunder. The strong people outside the border were frightened and angry. They didn't expect to be mixed in. He is the dragon dust. He is the dragon dust of the vast sky. A disciple exclaimed in surprise that he was a strong man from Minghaotian. Long Chen had destroyed a branch hall of the Shengdan Hall in Mingay Ocean and was wanted. The disciple just knew him. "Dare to sneak into my holy Dan Hall and seek death." The red-haired man roared. He was thousands of miles away from the dragon dust. In terms of speed, he could not catch up with him. He held the seal formula and a long flame gun appeared out of thin air. The flame spear just formed, with the roaring strong wind to the back of the dragon dust. I don't know what strength the red-haired man used. The flame spear just broke away from his big hand and went to the back of the dragon dust. Out of space. Long Chen Heart Alin, sure enough, the world is big, hidden dragon crouching tiger, unexpectedly met a master. Boom! The dragon-shaped pattern appears on the fist of dragon dust. One punch hits the spear, and the long gun bursts into pieces. Long Chen wants to use the power of that gun to speed up his speed. But what I didn't expect was that at the moment when the spear was broken, the void trembled and the runes flowed. It was like a big net that sealed the space around the dragon dust. Obviously, Long Chen thought of it, and the big red-haired man also thought that this attack could not be relied on, but also trapped Long Chen. Hiss! With a cold hum, the real fire sword appears in his hand, and a white light appears on the blade of Zhenhua sword. The wall of rune is cut open by Long Chen's sword. The power of Ice Soul. When Long Chen cuts through the wall of runes with a sword, the faces of the disciples inside and outside the boundary will change. The dragon dust broke through the wall with a sword, and the man did not stop at all, but galloped to the top of the glacier. The red-haired man, frightened and angry, wants to attack again, but Long Chen has already run out of his attack range. He roars, and Cui moves the flame unicorn to catch up. "My lord, what should I do?" Outside the border, the face of a man with strong divine dignity changed and looked at an old man with white beard who had never spoken. The old man with white beard was also ugly. He couldn't figure out how Long Chen mixed in. If Long Chen was an ordinary disciple of Shenjun State, he didn't care about it. But Long Chen had the power of Ice Spirit, which made him uneasy. Do you want to attack another god who has a strong respect for the environment? Can't help but say. No, once the boundary is used and the great array changes, the diluted ice spirit power will return to the ice spirit itself. The dead disciples will die in vain, and all efforts will be in vain. The old man with white beard shook his head. What about that? The old man with white beard looked at the flying figure of dragon dust, and his eyes became sharp. A boy who is not even the supreme one can't lift much waves even if he has a trace of ice spirit. Let's wait and see. Anyway, there is a big battle. He can't escape. Let's leave it to these children. But I was afraid of him and got the approval of Bing Soul. No way, even if we get the approval of Bing Soul, it's useless. Ice Soul is chained by the gold chain of Sky Fire Essence. Even if it recognizes the Lord, we still need to release it to completely complete the recognition. The gold chain of Fire Essence was made by Lord Luoshani himself. It is a joke to see the world artifact in front of it. Whitebeard Old Man Light Tunnel. Hearing the old man's words, people were relieved. However, the old man said with a cold face, after planning for millions of years, such mistakes can still occur. Are you a group of pigs? When the old man with white beard was angry, all the strong people in the presence were scared to silence. A half-step god respected the strong man and knelt down on the ground and said, "Report to the Lord of the Hall. The 13 boundaries are in good condition. The disciples have been paying attention to them all the time, and dare not to neglect them. Please observe them carefully. Lord, the disciples coming out of the transmission array have been tested by the power of faith. There is no possibility that there will be a fish missing the net after passing through 3 gates in succession." Another strong man also came forward. Since it didn't come in through the outer door or from the transmission array, was it born in the earth? The one with a strong sense of dignity said angrily that they were shirking their responsibilities. Don't make any noise. This man must have come in from outside. The old man with white beard said, This. The man turned pale with fear. He was responsible for the external inspection, which he could not afford. Our junctions are invisible and connected with the core enchantment. The boy has the power of ice spirit, so he escaped the exploration of the boundary. It's not your fault. After all, who could have thought that someone would have the power of ice spirit? The old man with white beard said. When they heard this, they could not help but realize that the man was relieved when he heard that the Lord of the Temple did not investigate his meaning. He's so fast. Some people exclaimed that although the red-haired man and others were chasing after him with all his strength, he was still far away from the dragon dust. The people were close to the middle of the mountain, and the dragon dust had almost reached the top of the mountain. The thunder power of dragon dust breaks out. Staring at the violent pressure, he flies with all his strength. The closer he gets to the top of the mountain, the more terrifying the pressure is. The speed of Longchen gradually slows down. Idiot, I'm here to save you. Let me go. Longchen couldn't help scolding. Brother Longchen, it's useless. It's in a weak state now. I'm afraid it can't hold on. Huolinger is a little anxious. Ice Spirit Flame has been sealed and constantly extracted strength. For hundreds of millions of years, I don't know how many people have taken away the strength. Now it is on the verge of collapse. I don't know who will be the last straw to crush it. In this way, the Holy Dan Temple wants to destroy the will of Ice Spirit Flame and make it weak to the extreme. After the collapse of the will, in the threat of death, a new wisdom will be born and the Lord will be recognized again. In this way, their plan for hundreds of millions of years will be considered successful. Now, it is the time when the power of Ice Spirit Flame is so weak that its will is about to collapse. Now it has no clear mind and can only act on instinct because there are people dying and diluting its power with the fire of life. The speed of dragon dust slows down, and the strong people behind him chase after him crazily, but soon their speed also begins to slow down and more people die. Now, there are less than 10 million disciples living on the glacier. Dragon dust resisted the terrible pressure and finally rushed to the glacier. When he stepped on the glacier, he saw a cage trapped by 8 golden chains, in which a woman in white was trapped. Longchen didn't want to think about it, and rushed directly to the cage. At the moment when Longchen was close to the cage, the woman in white suddenly opened her eyes and filled 9 days with cold, killing intention. Boom! With an explosion, the dragon dust could not be prevented. He was shocked by the force of terror, and his whole body cracked and almost burst. "Are you sick?" Longchen was surprised and angry, pointing at the woman and swearing. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 37-35, Shameless Bastard, Humble Creature, I will not yield to anyone. Do you think torturing me in this way will make me obey you? Even if I die, my indomitable will continue. This world can trap my body, but it can't trap my will. I die here, and under the circulation of the law of heaven, the new ice spirit also has indomitable will, and will never come to you. The woman in white stood up from the cage, looking at the dragon dust, like a gem in the eyes, with endless pride and coldness. Her long clothes are like snow. She is gorgeous. Even if she is trapped in a cage, she still can't cover up her heroism. Even if she is trapped in a prison, she is still full of the spirit of 9 days of pride, which is convincing. Idiot, open your eyes and have a look. I'm here to save you. The dragon dust is angry and anxious. This ice spirit is different from the rainbow fairy. The rainbow fairy is gentle and graceful. The ice spirit is unreasonable. He almost killed him just now. Do you think that if you have a little bit of ice power and cooperate with a group of people, you will win my trust? Stupid guy, you've used this trick countless times in billions of years. I won't be fooled. Since you send it to the door, it'll take your ice soul and kill all of you here. In the eyes of the woman in white, all of a sudden, her hands were printed. Huolinger screamed. She had been attached to Longchen, but she was pulled by a terrible force and pulled out of the dragon dust. Are you crazy? Longchen was surprised and angry. He didn't expect that the ice soul was so unreasonable that he stretched out his hand to pull Huolinger. Boom! All of a sudden, 9 days of shaking, 8 golden chains trembling, the endless light on the chain broke out. It began to suppress the strength of the woman in white. But even so, Huolinger is still pulled away by the invisible force. Longchen grabs Huolinger, but she is shocked to find that she can't catch her. Huolinger screams in horror. She has no strength to fight back in front of Ice Spirit. I can't believe that there is still a trace of fire and emptiness. Good, I will use your power to kill all your companions. The voice of the woman in white was a little surprised. If you hurt her, it'll kill you. The dragon dust is angry and murderous. However, Huolinger is a spirit body. In front of the woman in white, he can't use his strength. He can only watch Huolinger dragged into the cage. Longchen is very angry. Now he has only one eye. This eye turns black in an instant. The terrible dark power gushes out. When Longchen is about to use his purgatory eyes, the woman in white suddenly stops moving. I don't know when a lotus flower, a golden lotus flower, appeared in the heart of Huolinger's eyebrows. As soon as the lotus flower appeared, the killing intention on the woman in white disappeared in a moment. She looked at the golden lotus flower in the heart of Huolinger's eyebrows. All of a sudden, the woman in white releases her hands, and Huolinger is free. She is scared to get into the chaotic space and dare not come out again. So you really came to save me? The woman in white looks at Longchen and murmurs. Save you fart, I don't want to save you now. Your life or death has nothing to do with me. Dragon Dust is very angry. The woman in white wants to swallow Huolinger. She touches his scales and almost uses the eyes of purgatory. Looking at the angry Dragon Dust, the woman in white moved her mouth. She seemed to want to say something sorry, but she didn't say it in the end. Dragon Dust looked at the Firelinger, found that she was just frightened, no damage. Dragon Dust cold turn head to go. You can't go out. The big array here is controlled by them. You are so humble that you can only die if you go out like this. I was reckless just now. In order to compensate you, I will send you out with my last strength. Women in white. No, I can go out without you. Longchen sneered. He is holding a black dagger. He has seen this boundary. It is not made of faith. The black dagger should be broken. If the dagger could not be broken, he would use his eyes of purgatory, or he would be totally blind for a few days. Anyway, he had a sense of divinity. As long as he didn't fight with people, the problem was not big. In short, he didn't want to deal with this woman. Seeing that Long Chen said so, the woman in white stopped talking. Long Chen went out with a cold hum, and suddenly saw a disciple of the Shengdan Hall who was approaching rapidly. Long Chen was so angry that he ran back. "I'll take you out." The woman looked at Long Chen and thought that he finally begged her. "Give me a fart. I'll send you out. I can't get you or let them get you." Dragon dust angry way. The woman in white looked at Long Chen, shook her head and said, "This chain and cage are made of pure gold from Tianhua. They depict the first generation of 9 Li runes. They can't be cut at all." Ding ding ding. Before the woman in white finished her words, Long Chen, holding a black dagger, slashed at the chain, saw sparks flying, and the chain broke in response. But this time, cutting the chain is not like before, like cutting tofu. Although the chain is broken, it makes Long Chen's arm numb and the mouth of the tiger bleed. The Great Famine. When she saw the dagger in the hand of Long Chen, the pupil of the woman in white shrank abruptly and vomited out 2 words. Then she thought of something, and the jade hand quickly covered her mouth. Boom! Suddenly, the void roared and trembled. The woman in white took back her shock and gave a cold hum and a push. The cage that trapped her burst into pieces, while Long Chen cut off the other end of the 8 chains and collected them together with the fragments of the cage. He knew that this thing was absolutely a treasure, so he took it back to Xia Chen and Guoran for research. At this time, the dragon standing on the top of their head, the dragon, standing on the top of the dust, burst into the dust. And the 3 powerful god worshippers also took action. Each of them held an array plate, and the terrible divine power broke out. The big array on the top of the dragon dust was like a piece of universe. All the powerful people of the Holy Dan Hall, one by one, showed the color of panic, and everyone burned their blood essence to urge the battle. Boom! The glacier at the foot of Longchen collapsed, and Longchen felt that his bones were crushed. However, the disciples of Shengdan Hall who had just rushed up were shocked out by the force of terror before they could see what was going on. With a cold hum, Long Chen was about to rush out. He knew that as long as he left the mountain top, the pressure would be reduced, and he could rush out from the weak parts nearby. All of a sudden, Long Chen's arm was tight, and she was caught by the woman in white. The woman in white said, "Lend me the power of your flame." "Don't borrow," Long Chen said angrily that she even wanted to borrow the power of Huolinger. The woman in white said, "Borrow my strength and let me breathe. I am willing to share all my strength with that little girl." At that moment, the dragon dust throbbed. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 3736, It's a Deal. Before Long Chen agreed, Huolinger ran out. She was afraid of the woman in white, but she was full of expectation. "You and I are the spirit of the fire. You should know that I will not cheat." The woman in white looks at the fire spirit Sun Wei. Good. Huolinger suddenly turns into a dragon of fire, twines around the woman in white, and then melts into her body. At that moment, Huolinger suddenly loses contact with the dragon dust. Long Chen's heart thumps suddenly. Long Chen and Huolinger's soul are connected, lost the perception of Huolinger. Long Chen doesn't know why she is a little flustered, for fear of her accident. "Hold me." The woman in white suddenly looks at Long Chen with a cold face. "Ah!" Long Chen was stunned. "Hurry up," the woman in white frowned. It's not good for a woman to hold her arms in a white dragon dress. From the back, the dragon dust just hugs the white dress woman. The white female woman immediately wrinkles the eyebrow away. "Ooh." Long Chen quickly hugged the woman in white from behind. After embracing the woman in white, Long Chen did not feel that she was full of fragrant jade. On the contrary, she fought a cold war. The chilling cold and the terrible high temperature rushed into his body at the same time. The cold and heat alternated, and Long Chen almost didn't breathe blood. The woman in white looked at the strong men above her head, and her eyes were full of murders. I will never forget the pain and humiliation you have given me for hundreds of millions of years. Today, I want to recover some interest. When the woman in white made a jade hand seal, the glacier at her feet suddenly broke, and those fleeing disciples in the boundary were affected by the force of terror and turned into dust one after another. Only those of the most powerful, barely supported, but they were still shaken to fly far away. They looked at the woman in white in horror. The glacier broke up, and the endless white light in the boundary gathered towards the woman in white. At that moment, the faces of the three powerful deities above the boundary changed greatly. They were shocked to find that the battle had failed. The fire of life of those dead Tianjiao could not only dilute the strength of the woman in white, but also be absorbed by her. It's the power of fire and deficiency. When dragon dust saw the glacier collapse, countless black spots appeared between heaven and earth. It was these black spots that absorbed the fire of those people's lives. The road is merciless and the cause and effect flows. In the name of my ice soul, I order all kinds of methods. With the soul of my ice soul, we can destroy the heaven and earth. The ice soul sword thing. With the woman in white whispering, the endless white light between heaven and earth, condensed together, converged into a long sword. The long sword was as long as 100 li, and its whole body was like a cold jade. The tip of the sword pointed to the strong people above the border. At that moment, the faces of the three powerful gods changed greatly. Escape. The three deities who were in a strong state of reverence disappeared for the first time. Boom! And they just disappeared. The snow-white sword pierced the border and exploded among hundreds of thousands of strong men. Puff, puff. The sword of ice and snow explodes, and a white ripple spreads. However, all the strong people covered by the ripples burst into pieces one after another, as if some force in their bodies was detonated, and there was no residual force to resist. In addition to the three powerful deities, hundreds of thousands of the powerful ones of the sacred elixir hall were all killed, and the boundary covering the sky also disintegrated into endless fragments. At the same time, the surrounding columns of fire also stopped erupting. It turns out that these pillars of fire are part of the control ice soul array. Snow and ice all over the sky, every snowflake is burning, and the law of heaven begins to become chaotic. Long Chen holds the woman in white and hides behind her, but she also bears the power of terror. Under the alternation of heat and cold, it seems that the body is twisted by a pair of invisible hands, and almost a mouthful of blood spurts out. The power of ice soul is too terrible. This is the ice spirit that has run out of oil and the lamp is dry. Long Chen can't imagine how strong the ice spirit was in its heyday. No wonder it is still above the rainbow fairy. After the attack, the breath of the woman in white dropped rapidly, and her body began to become translucent. Obviously, although she was addicted to this blow, she also paid a great price. I don't have the strength. Help me dig out the cornerstone of the underground formation. The woman in white said. The body actually slowly disappeared. At the same time the fire Ling sun appeared, she even appeared on the white dress woman's breath. At this time, the fire spirit breath is also very weak, just appeared, directly returned to the chaotic space of dragon dust to cultivate. It'll go and that's it? I thought you would take me away. Long Chen is a fool. Isn't it fun? Death. Suddenly, the void burst open, and a big red-haired man came from the sky, holding a long flame gun and pointing straight at Long Chen's eyebrows. At this time, behind Long Chen, a huge object appeared, claws whistling and grabbing at the back of Long Chen. It was the red-haired unicorn's mount. The breath of the flame unicorn was extremely terrible, which was even more terrible than some of the supreme-level Tianjiao. One man, one beast, one front and one back, cooperated perfectly, sealing off all the retreats of Long Chen. I'll kill you when I'm free. The dragon dust snorted coldly, and suddenly his figure flickered. The whole person sank rapidly. A big hole was born under his feet and he rushed into the ground directly. The red-haired man and the flaming unicorn crossed each other. They were so close that they didn't bump into each other. The big red-haired man fluttered into the air, and his figure was in a flash, chasing after the dragon dust, while his flame unicorn followed closely. "Step back and give me the man." All of a sudden, 3 figures appeared in the sky. They were the 3 powerful deities who fled directly. At this time, their faces were extremely ugly. Although the 3 of them escaped a robbery, all of their men were dead. What surprised them most was that among the 40 million disciples, only a few hundred of them survived. They could not bear the responsibility. Compared with the death of people, what they fear most is that Ice Soul has broken free from the shackles. If she is allowed to escape, it will be all over. The 3 of them returned at the first time to take down Long Chen and recapture Bingfu. They saw that the red-haired man chased Long Chen and ordered him to leave. They had to deal with Long Chen in person and did not dare to have any carelessness. But the red-haired man, very proud, didn't listen to them, so he rushed to Long Chen. "This man's life is mine. I'll take care of it myself." The redhead replied coldly. "You." The old man with white beard was frightened and angry, but he was helpless. Because the red-haired man had a special identity. Although he was the head of the temple of the holy elixir in the world, he did not dare to force him to command him, because the red-haired man was a disciple of the god of the holy Dan temple. Like Shueisha Hall and Jiuyo Hall, Xingdan Hall has many sub-halls and many hall owners. However, there is only one god of faith. They are the supreme authority and their disciples also have absolute rights. Seeing that they could not order the red-haired Han, they could only finish the glyph and block the area separately to prevent the dragon dust from escaping. At this time, the only hundreds of the supreme level Tianjiao on the glacier have already rushed into the ground, and the power of Ice Spirit has disappeared. All their anger is scattered on the dragon dust. Long Chen heard the voices of 3 powerful gods in his ears and complained in his heart. The woman in white was really a trap. Instead of taking him out, he gave him a task. It was too deep. When the dragon dust rushed into the ground, it was discovered that there was a huge array plate, like a chessboard, on which there were countless huge divine stones, and the stones were emitting terrible flame waves. "This should be the cornerstone. Take it for me." Dragon dust to break drink, cast out a thunderbolt net, cover all the stones. www.novelhold.com, the fastest update of the web novel. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.